That's called atavism. Anyway, our wish has come true, Mu Changfeng chuckled happily. After leaving the hospital, the couple's phones kept ringing, received a new WeChat message. Everyone is very happy, especially the Mu family. It could be said that the entire family is in an uproar. Twins. Mu Changfeng's cousins all said they need to buy an extra gold lock. After Yuqing became pregnant, they had already prepared gold locks as welcome gifts for their future niece or nephew. However, they had only prepared for one child. Now that Yuqing is pregnant with twins, they are all rushing to buy an extra gold lock. Yuqing, I'm only 5 weeks pregnant now, and it's still a long way until the baby is born. There's no need to prepare the welcome gifts so early. Mu Changfeng was overjoyed. His arch-rival Jiyu Chen was still guarding the door at Bai Nuan's house. He had been guarding for so many days, yet he couldn't enter the house, not even getting a chance to drink a sip of water. Every day, he would pack meals and bring them to Bai's doorstep, waiting. As soon as Nuan came out, he would become her shadow, sticking close to her without leaving her side. Once Nuan went back inside, he would automatically and consciously return to his car to wait. He did not forcefully barge in. Seeing Jiyu Chen so humble, Mr. and Mrs. Bai felt a bit soft-hearted. Perhaps it was because they had worked for the Jiyu family for so long and watched Jiyu Chen grow up. So they had deep feelings for this young master. However, since their daughter refused to forgive Jiyu Chen, the couple did not dare to let him in. At most, they would quietly give him some food. It was already Friday, and their son Jiyu Lai would be out of school in the afternoon. Bai Nuan decided to return to Guangqing City after lunch, find a place to rent first, so that she and her son would have a place to stay, and then look for a temporary job while working. She would also lose weight and take the opportunity during her temporary job to pick up the makeup skills she had learned before. Her life was about to start anew. At this moment, Bai Nuan was stir-frying in the kitchen. Since she was about to leave, lunch was being prepared early today. Nuan. Mother Bai came in from outside and said to her daughter, Nuan, after you finish your meal, you'll be heading back to the city. Just take the young master's car back. Bai Nuan turned her head to look at her mother and said, Mom, if you have something to say, just say it. There's no need to beat around the bush. Mom thought, since the young master is always with you anyway, if you need to go pick up Eli from school, you can just ride in the young master's car. First, it saves a bit on transportation costs, and second, Mom and Dad can rest easy. We won't be riding in his car for nothing. We'll invite him in for a meal. Bai's mother's real intention was to have Jiyu Chen come in for a meal. These past few days, she'd seen Jiyu Chen eating. Sometimes it was takeout he'd brought along, but by noon the food had already gone cold. Other times, for convenience, he'd just buy a bag of bread and have it with a bottle of mineral water to get through a meal. Sometimes he ate instant noodles, and the hot water to prepare them was begged from the Bai family's neighbors, not daring to ask Bai Nuan for it. Mrs. Bai saw this and felt quite heartbroken. Jiyu Chen could be said to have grown up under the care of her and her husband. Seeing the high and mighty young master, for the sake of their daughter, reduced to eating bread and instant noodles, she felt that Jiyu Chen had realized his mistake and had shown the utmost sincerity in his apology. In order to seek his daughter's forgiveness, he gave up everything and followed her back to the countryside, no matter how she treated him. He stayed by her side without getting angry. Every time he saw his daughter going out, Jiyu Chen would smile ingratiatingly. The young master has been eating so poorly lately, he's not getting any nutrition at all. Haven't you noticed? He's lost a lot of weight. Mom, you feel sorry for your young master. But don't you feel sorry for your daughter? Bai Nuan turned her back to her mother and said, How could it not hurt? You are my own flesh and blood. Born after I carried you for 10 months. How could I not feel the pain? For 10 years, you never came home, and your father and I could only rely on your old photos to get by. Thinking of you wandering outside, our hearts felt as if they were being cut by a knife. When Bai Nuan worked at the Mu family villa, she did not tell her parents. Her parents only knew she was still alive and that she had given birth to a child, but they knew nothing else. Nuan did not want her parents to know her whereabouts because she was afraid they might be tricked into revealing information by Jiyu Chen. Although they were her parents, they had also watched Jiyu Chen grow up. They had worked for the Jiyu family for too long and were extremely fond of their young master, Jiyu Chen. Especially since her father used to be the Jiyu family's butler, he treated Jiyu Chen as if he were his own son, doting on him dearly, perhaps at first. Upon learning that she had been hurt by Jiyu Chen, her parents would be furious and heartbroken for her. But as time passed, she truly couldn't guarantee that they would keep it a secret for her. All right, it's up to you. If you don't want to ride back to the city in the young master's car, how about having your dad arrange a car for you? Or go find your cousin and have him give you a ride. Nuan's cousin has a car. I've already booked a car. Nuan finished stir-frying a dish. Turned off the gas, picked up a plate, and scooped the food from the pan onto the plate. Nuan, the dish you cooked smells amazing. Mother Bai praised her daughter. Nuan saw that the soup next to her was also ready. After adding salt to the broth, she stirred it a few times with a spoon and then turned off the gas for the soup. Since Eli started cooking, I rarely cook anymore. He prepares all 3 meals every day, and his cooking skills have improved a lot. Practice makes perfect. Jiyu Lai has done it so often that the dishes he cooks are very delicious. Mentioning her grandson, Grandma Bai's face was full of heartache as she scolded her daughter. How old is Eli? You make him do so many household chores. When Eli is on winter break, bring him back so we can see him properly. You don't have to wait until winter break. After I return to the city and rent a place, if you and Dad feel bored at home, you can come visit us anytime. Ali comes home every weekend on his days off. Nuan began stir-frying the second dish and said to her mother, "Mom, go tell the door god outside to come in and eat." Mother Bai was stunned for a moment, then immediately said happily, "All right, I'll go tell the door god to come in and eat right now." If it were in the past, Nuan calling Jiyu Chen a door god would have definitely drawn criticism from her parents. Now, as long as her daughter was willing to let Jiyu Chen in, Mrs. Bai felt that giving the young master a nickname was nothing, and she supposed the young master wouldn't mind either. Mrs. Bai turned and went out. Mr. Bai was sitting by the door smoking. Seeing his wife come out of the kitchen, he asked her quietly, "What did Nuan say?" Nuan agreed. "I'll go tell the young master now. He'll be overjoyed." Father Bai breathed a sigh of relief and said quietly, "They already have a son. And he's even in middle school. If they can make it work, they should try to work things out. That way, we as parents won't have to worry so much." "Don't say that in front of our daughter. We all know Nuan's personality. She's made it clear that she can't go back to how things were with the young master. As her parents, we have to stand by her side. Anyway, with a son and Eli being a good man, Nuan will have someone to rely on for the rest of her life. Even if I were to die, I could rest in peace." Chapter 502, Grinning from ear to ear. Bai's mother no longer wanted to persuade her daughter, nor did she want to interfere in the matters between her daughter and the young master. As her daughter put it, she had been hurt so badly that she was covered in wounds, had countless nightmares for years, gave up her career because of it, lived under an assumed name for a decade, gave birth alone, and raised the child by herself to this day, enduring all kinds of hardships. It wasn't something that a few apologies from the young master could erase her pain. Perhaps, this is the best outcome now. Bai's father thought it over and found it reasonable, so he stopped grumbling. As long as their daughter had someone to rely on for the rest of her life, they, as parents, could rest assured. Bai's mother walked down the steps and headed toward the courtyard gate. Jiyu Chen, who was waiting at the courtyard gate, was already drenched in sweat from the heat, even with an umbrella. He couldn't withstand the relentless assault of the scorching heat. Seeing Mrs. Bai approaching, Jiyu Chen quickly stood up, a flattering smile spreading across his bearded face as he called out ingratiatingly, "Auntie." Mrs. Bai unlocked the courtyard gate and said to him, "Young master, come in quickly. Go inside and enjoy the fan. It's unbearably hot out here." Jiyu Chen asked joyfully, "Auntie, did Nuan allow me to come in? Is it because she agreed to let me in?" If Nuan didn't agree to let him in, he wouldn't dare to enter. That night he acted as a thief once, and for several days, Nuan wouldn't even look him in the eye. So now he doesn't dare to be a thief anymore. Nuan hasn't forgiven him yet and is still angry with him. If he keeps acting like a thief, it will only make her even angrier. "It was Nuan who told me to come out and open the door for you, to let you in. Young master, come in quickly, go wash your hands. We'll be eating soon." Nuan said to invite you in to have dinner together. "Auntie, Are we eating so early today? It's not even 10 o'clock yet. Having served as the gatekeeper at the Bai family for so long, he is well aware of their daily meal times. Lunch is usually eaten between 11:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. I've never had a meal this early before. It's Friday today. Nuan is going back to pick up Eli from school, so we're having an early lunch today, after eating. Nuan will set off. Hearing this, Ji Yuchen's eyes lit up. Nuan is going back to the urban area of Guangqing, so she must be taking his car. They're going the same way. He also said he would pick up his son from school on Friday afternoon. Ji Yuchen was even more eager to please his son. After all, they were father and son, bound by blood. While Nuan was as hard as stone, their son appeared cold and tough on the surface but was actually quite soft-hearted. If he could win over his son and get him to say a few good words on his behalf, it would be more effective than repeating praises hundreds of times a day. Yes. Nuan said he would pick up Ailey from school on Friday. Ji Yuchen grinned from ear to ear, seeing how happy he looked. Mrs. Bai couldn't help but say, "Young master, don't get too excited just yet. Nuan has already booked a ride-hailing car. She won't be taking your car back." Ji Yuchen's smile instantly froze. But he quickly laughed again and said, "No worries, I can still go the same way as her. I'll follow the car she's in closely, and we'll head back together. Auntie, don't worry, with me following, I'll make sure Nuan gets back to the city safely." Nuan has resigned and left the Mu family villa, in the city. She has no place to stay. Ji Yuchen thought about returning to the city together. He could coax her into staying at one of his villas, along with their son. That way, the family of three would be reunited. As for the Ji family mansion, Ji Yuchen did not plan to bring Nuan and their son back there, worried that his mother might give Nuan a hard time, knowing that he had chased Nuan all the way to her hometown. His mother was extremely angry and couldn't even be bothered to call him anymore. As for the matters of the Ji Corporation, it seems his parents have taken over. He had said that if Nuan didn't forgive him, and if his mother didn't genuinely accept Nuan, he wouldn't return to the Ji family mansion. As for the Ji Corporation, his parents could give it to whomever they wanted. He didn't care. Anyway, he had already paved the way for himself. Even if he left the Ji group, he could still support his wife and children. Mrs. Bai wanted to say something more, but in the end, she said nothing and just sighed, stepping aside to let Ji Yuchen in. After entering the yard, Ji Yuchen first went to the faucet to wash his hands, then walked toward Mr. Bai with a smile. "Uncle Bai." Mr. Bai smiled, looking at his unshaven face, unsure how long it had been since he last shaved, and said to him, "Young master, if you don't mind, I can lend you my razor to shave your beard." The young master is now covered in a full beard, perhaps because he hasn't been in the mood to groom himself, or maybe he's using this disheveled appearance to win Nuan's sympathy. Unfortunately, Nuan isn't swayed by sympathy, and the young master's image has instead taken a significant hit because of his unkempt beard. In the eyes of Nuan's parents, Ji Yuchen has always been a handsome man. Ji Yuchen touched his beard. It had been a while since he last shaved. "Uncle Bai, do I look very ugly now?" Ji Yuchen asked. "You don't look good." The young master was originally a handsome man, but now with a face full of beard, "You look old and ugly, Ji Yuchen. Isn't it supposed to make you look more mature?" "Uncle Bai, are we eating now? If we can't eat yet, could you please lend me your razor first? I'll shave my beard clean right away." Even Uncle Bai said that with his beard, he looks old and ugly, so Nuan must think he's even uglier. No wonder Nuan has never softened her heart. If he were a woman and saw an old, ugly, bearded man every day, he wouldn't soften his heart either. Father Bai stood up and walked towards the house, asking his daughter who was cooking in the kitchen, "Nuan, is the food ready?" Nuan's voice drifted out from the kitchen. "There are still 2 more dishes to cook. It'll be ready in about 10 minutes. "Oh, okay. Do you need any help, Dad?" "No need, Dad." "Have you invited the door god inside yet?" Nuan didn't know that Ji Yuchen had already followed his parents into the house and even asked a question. Ji Yuchen, he had already been regarded as a door god by Nuan. Being a door god is fine too. It means he can be posted on her door, always watching over her. Young Master Ji doesn't mind at all being seen as a door god by Nuan. His "come in." The young master was absolutely overjoyed to hear that you asked him to join for the meal. It was Bai's mother who answered Nuanuan. She had entered the kitchen intending to help her daughter, but seeing that there were only 2 seafood dishes and no need for her assistance, she began to take out the bowls and chopsticks to wash them. It's extremely hot outside. The young master is sweating all over his face and head from the heat. Nuanuan did not respond. Seeing that her daughter did not respond, Bai's mother stopped speaking. After washing the dishes, she first brought out the pot of soup. Jiyu Chen borrowed his future father-in-law's razor and quickly shaved off his full beard. He thought that during the meal, if Nuanuan saw how handsome he looked, she might be willing to ride back to the city with him. Seeing his wife bringing out the soup, Bai's father also went to help tidy the dining table, set up the chairs, and then went into the kitchen to bring out the prepared dishes one by one. Jiyu Chen thought it was time to eat and, in his eagerness, accidentally scraped his chin. Ouch! He cried out in pain. All 3 people in the kitchen rushed out to check on him at the same time. Chapter 503, Seeking Help from Yuqing again. Young master, what's wrong with you? Bai's father and mother ran to Jiyu Chen, asking with concern. Nuan saw Jiyu Chen holding a razor and knew that he had accidentally cut himself while shaving. Turning around, she went back to the kitchen, too lazy to care about him, even if he was hurt. It was just a scratch on the skin. He screamed so loudly, like a pig being slaughtered, that she thought he was seriously injured. Jiyu Chen held his chin and mumbled indistinctly, "Uncle Bai, Auntie, I scraped my chin." The couple exchanged glances, finding it somewhat amusing. "Let me take a look, honey. Go get some medicine. We need to disinfect it and then apply some ointment to the young master's wound." "Okay." Bai's mother went to get the medicine. Jiyu Chen let go of the hand covering his chin. After checking it, Bai's father said, "It's fine, just a little skin broken. Disinfect it and apply some medicated oil, and it'll be okay." He then took the razor from Jiyu Chen's hand. "How about I help you shave, young master?" Jiyu Chen quickly declined. He noticed that Nuan just glanced at him a couple of times before returning to the kitchen, showing no concern or worry about his injury. He felt a bit sad. In the past, before their relationship changed, he had once cut his chin while shaving, and she had been extremely anxious. "I personally helped disinfect his wound and applied medicine for him, feeling so heartbroken that I almost cried." He comforted her, saying it didn't hurt at all, and only then did she hold back her tears. Now, even if he were to shave off a piece of his flesh, she probably wouldn't feel a bit of heartache. After Mr. Bai helped Jiyu Chen disinfect the wound and apply the medicine, he slowly and carefully shaved his beard. "Old man, keep an eye on the young master. I'm going to help." Unable to help Jiyu Chen, Bai's mother asked her husband to keep an eye on him to prevent him from scratching his chin again. 10 minutes later, Nuan untied the apron, took it off, hung it back behind the kitchen door, washed her hands, and then came out to sit at the dining table. Jiyu Chen looked at the table full of dishes, all made by his Nuan. Just the sight of them made his mouth water. He hadn't eaten a proper meal in days, let alone one cooked by Nuan. Back at the Mu family villa, it was their son Jiyu Lai who did the cooking. "Dad, I've made so many dishes, and Mr. Jiyu is here to eat with us. Aren't you going to bring out a bottle of wine to share a couple of drinks with him?" "I'd like to have a couple of drinks too," Nuan said to her father while serving herself a bowl of soup. "That's right, old man. Hurry up and bring out the good wine you've been saving to share a couple of drinks with the young master." Seeing her daughter speak up and even suggest that her husband share a few drinks with the young master, Mrs. Bai, thinking her daughter was in a good mood, chimed in and urged her husband to bring out the treasured wine. Jiyu Chen was even more overjoyed. "Okay." Father Bai stood up and went to fetch his treasured fine wine, which he usually couldn't bear to drink. Since he was going to share a few drinks with the young master, it was only natural to use the good stuff. Nuan was also someone who could hold her liquor. She also drank 2 small cups, and even Mother Bai, who rarely touched alcohol, drank half a cup. This meal left everyone happy and satisfied. Jiyu Chen ate and drank so much that he was completely full. He also drank quite a bit of alcohol. It was a joyful time, especially when Nuan occasionally raised her glass to him. He was so delighted that he lost all sense of direction and drank one glass after another. After eating and drinking their fill, both Ji Chen and Nuanuan's father were a bit unsteady on their feet. The two sat on the sofa, talking incessantly, with the effects of the alcohol. Nuanuan's father became particularly talkative, sharing many amusing stories from Ji Chen and Nuanuan's childhood. Ji Chen grew drowsy, leaning against the sofa. He actually dozed off. Dad Bai's words grew softer and softer, and he too followed along to dream of the Duke of Ju. By the time Mother Bai finished washing the dishes and came out of the kitchen, Nuan happened to be dragging her suitcase downstairs. Nuan, are you going back now? Mother Bai asked her daughter. Did you bring everything you wanted to take? Remember to bring the frozen food from the fridge. It's for a lie to try something fresh. Nuan said, I haven't packed them yet. I'll go find a foam box, put some ice packs in it, and then pack all the food. The weather is hot, and even though we'll arrive this afternoon, I'm afraid the delicious food might spoil. As she spoke, she went to look for the foam box. Last time she bought something online, the seller used a large foam box. She didn't throw it away at the time, thinking she might need it occasionally. Entering the storage room, Nuan quickly found the foam box. After washing it clean in the yard, she returned to the house, took out several ice packs that had been frozen in the fridge, laid them at the bottom of the foam box, and then stuffed all the delicious food she was taking back to downtown Guang City into the box. Packed to the brim. Do you want some vegetables? Take 2 bags of greens. Homegrown vegetables taste better, Bai's mother asked her. Warmth thought that after returning, she would be renting a place and would need to cook for herself. Bringing 2 large bags of vegetables would save some money on buying greens, so she nodded. Bai's mother turned around and immediately helped her pack 2 large bags of fresh vegetables that had just been picked from the garden that morning. Nuan had already packed her things. She sent a message to Yuqing, asking her to help find an apartment so she could rent one after returning. Upon receiving her request for help, Yuqing immediately called her, Young madam. Nuan felt a bit embarrassed. Is this too much trouble? If you're too busy, I can look for one myself after I get there, Yuqing said with a smile. No trouble at all, you don't need to look for another place, just take over the apartment Changfeng rented before. He hasn't cancelled the lease yet, it's fully furnished, with 2 bedrooms and a living room, plenty of space for you and your son. That's even better, thank you, madam. And thank the young master as well, Yuqing told her. Don't call me madam anymore, we've hit it off, so let's just be friends from now on. Fan, yeah, and Guli are the best of friends. After all, I'll let Changfeng know. Once you arrive, I'll give you the keys. You can move right in. It's very convenient. Nuan thanked her again and again. The apartment is Unit 08 on the 3rd floor of Building B in Ziyuan Court. The transportation there is very convenient, with a large supermarket nearby and the market not too far away, making it easy to buy groceries and such. After finishing, Yuqing asked Nuan, aren't you avoiding President Gu anymore? Nuan smiled bitterly. He already knows where I am, so there's no avoiding it. And there's no need to anymore. He's like a piece of sticky candy, impossible to shake off. I've decided to face him openly. Yes, it's not your fault, so why should you avoid him? He should be the one avoiding you. He's the one who wronged you. Yuqing echoed Nuanuan's words, also feeling that avoiding the situation again wasn't the solution. If you can't avoid it, it's better to face it calmly. Besides, Ji Chen has matured a lot now and won't treat Nuanuan the way he did 10 years ago. Nuan, what are your plans for the future? Yuqing considered Nuan a friend and was genuinely concerned about her future. I'm thinking of finding a temporary job first to earn some living expenses, then lose some weight. I also plan to use this time to pick up my makeup skills again. It's been so long since I last did makeup. I'm really out of practice now. Chapter 504. What a troublesome fate. You can go back to work at the villa, Yuqing suggested. Your job at the villa will free up some time. I want to be closer to Jiu Lai, so it's more convenient for him to come home on weekends. It's fine. I can manage everything. You don't need to worry about me, madam. Nuan started her own business when she was young and succeeded, so she has experience. Although she has been out of the industry for 10 years, her legend still circulates in the community. Once she regains her confidence, she can return to the world and make a comeback. She believes in herself. She follows a high-end lifestyle and often interacts with wealthy and influential people. so her image is particularly important. That's why she needs to lose weight. Initially, to avoid Ji Chen, she deliberately ate a lot and gained weight, but now her appetite has grown, and it will take some persistence to slim down. If you ever run into difficulties in the future, just let me know, I'll help you however I can. You don't always have to worry about troubling me. Friends are meant to help each other. It's Friday today. Are you going to pick up Ji Lai? Do you want to come over for dinner? Fan and Yaya really miss their big brother Ji Lai. It's also been a while since I've had a chance to chat with you. It's the perfect time for us to catch up and talk. I'll also introduce you to my friend. Nuan thought about her return to the world she once knew. Realizing that her interactions with Yuqing would inevitably increase, she replied generously, "Then I won't stand on ceremony. After I pick up Ji Lai, I'll come over to your place for a meal. You and the young master are living in the city villa now, right?" Having worked at the Mu family villa for 10 years, Nuan knew that Mu Changfeng usually lived in a large villa in the city. He would only bring his 2 children back to the villa during holidays to spend time with the elderly. "Yes. We're living here now, just like you. It's for the convenience of the children coming home after school. Will President Ji be joining you? If so, I'll have the kitchen prepare an extra portion." After a moment of silence, Nuan said, "We're not together." "Alright, I understand." Yuqing didn't press further. She would have plenty of time to catch up on Ji Chen and by Nuan's recent situation during dinner that evening. After ending the call, Nuan heard a car horn outside. Picking up the phone box, she said to her mother, "Mom, the ride-hailing car I booked has arrived." Bai's mother helped her daughter carry the suitcase and 2 large bags of vegetables outside. Offering another round of reminders, after the car took Nuan away, Mother Bai closed the courtyard gate and returned to the house. Seeing the 2 men passed out drunk, she suddenly realized that her daughter had deliberately suggested drinking. It was a ploy to keep the young master from leaving with her. The young master had drunk so much that even if he woke up now, he wouldn't be able to catch up with Nuan by the time the young master made his way back tomorrow. It would likely take him some time to find Nuan and her child's residence again. What a cursed fate. Bai's mother sighed. She couldn't persuade her daughter, nor could she help Ji Chen. In fact, she couldn't even try to help, because if she did, her daughter would accuse them of favoring Ji Chen over their own child. Over there, Yuqing was already sitting leisurely in the pavilion in her courtyard, enjoying her favorite fruits. Accompanying her was the ever-persistent Mu Changfeng. Yuqing teased him, "If you stay at home all day, you'd better be careful your company doesn't go bankrupt. You wouldn't want to let down your ancestors." "It's fine, it won't go bankrupt. I'm not at home every day either. Today, I'm just in a good mood and don't feel like going back to the office. If I go back, I'm afraid I won't be able to resist showing off to Ouyang, and that would really hurt his feelings. After all, he doesn't even have a girlfriend right now." Yuqing, no one but you, Mu Changfeng, could make skipping work sound so refreshingly innocent. Mu Changfeng sidled up to her, wrapping his arms around her. "Honey, isn't it nice that I'm here with you? I just love being by your side. When I came in just now, you were just hanging up the phone. Who were you talking to?" From a distance, I could see you smiling, and it was so incredibly bright. I even got a little jealous. You never smile that radiantly at me. She was tired from walking in the courtyard and wanted to sit under the pavilion to enjoy the scenery. Then she felt like eating some fruit. So he went back inside to get it for her. Yuqing has always been a food lover. After becoming pregnant, her appetite improved, and she could eat even more. Whenever she had free time, she felt like eating something. "It's Nuan." Yuqing stuffed a cherry into Changfeng's mouth. After eating it with delight, Changfeng asked her with curiosity, "How are Ji Chen and Bai Nuan doing now? I haven't heard any gossip about them for a while. Has Ji Chen managed to win Bai Nuan's forgiveness?" Nuan hasn't forgiven him, but her resentment isn't as strong as before. After all, they have Ji Lai between them. Although Ji Lai has a naturally cold demeanor, he actually longs for his father's love. In fact, who wouldn't want both parents by their side and to have complete love? Nuan is back from her hometown now. "Oh, by the way, I have something to tell you. Isn't your rental at Ziyuan Court still not cancelled?" "No need to cancel it, just transfer the lease to Nuan. She and her child are looking for a place, and I took the liberty of subletting the apartment you rented to her. That way, she won't have to go house hunting in this scorching heat, Changfeng said. I paid for a 6-month lease back then, and it's about to expire. Since Nuan is looking for a rental, let her take over the lease. All the appliances inside can be left for her and her child to use. Everything is there, so they won't have to buy anything new. Ching ching, everything I have is yours. And what's yours remains yours. In our little home, you're the one in charge. You call the shots. Mu Changfeng kissed her on the cheek and said dotingly. Help me manage the properties and shops under my name. The rent you collect can be your pocket money. That way, you'll have something to do and won't have to keep complaining about being bored and wanting to go back to growing fruit, helping you collect rent. Right, how long does that take? It's not even enough to pass the time, Mu Changfeng smiled. Besides collecting rent, you can also help me manage some of the chain store businesses. I don't personally handle those small operations. They're all managed by the store managers. I don't even have time to check the accounts. Uncle Zhong usually handles that for me. These tasks aren't difficult to handle, and they won't harm you or the child. They'll also help you pass the time. Yuqing thought her husband only owned a few properties and shops, but when she actually took over his private assets, she was shocked to discover just how extensive they were. The head of a multi-billion-dollar family is truly wealthy. With all those private assets, her husband actually said he doesn't have time to manage them personally, not even to check the accounts, and leaves everything to others to handle. Ma Changfeng's private assets are all wealth he created through his own investments and are not connected to the Damu Group. He gets involved in any industry, as long as it can make him money. Busy managing the massive Damu Group, Ma Changfeng doesn't even know how much private wealth he has. Now that I have my wife managing the household, it's the perfect time to let her take charge and pass the time. Chapter 505, Schadenfreude of Changfeng. Yuqing said, Alright, starting next week, I'll help you collect the rent and manage some small businesses. I can also check on my processing plant. As Changfeng looked at her, she quickly assured him, Don't worry, I'll just take a look and won't do any heavy work. The baby is my child too, and I also care deeply about the baby in my belly. Not to mention she's pregnant with twins. How rare is that? Although she is a workaholic and eager to make money, when it comes to comparing money and children, she definitely cares more about the children. Yuqing doesn't plan to have a second child, she only planned to have one child. So she actually took the 2 babies in her womb very seriously. Don't drive yourself, Mu Changfeng reminded her. Got it, you can arrange a driver for me. Right, actually, I'm only 5 weeks pregnant. And driving myself wouldn't really have any impact. Alright, stop glaring at me. I'll take a car and won't drive myself. Yuqing felt that after getting pregnant, her husband had become overly fussy, meddling in every little thing she did. He wouldn't even let her touch the steering wheel. If Nuan and her son come over for dinner tonight, and if Ji Chen happens to come along, you can show off your hospitality skills. Yuqing's words carried a hidden meaning. Mu Changfeng laughed and said, If he dares to come to my house for a free meal, I'll definitely give him a proper welcome. But does he dare to come? What wouldn't he dare to do? For Nuan and her child, he doesn't care about anything now. If you told him you could persuade Nuan to forgive him, he'd even kneel down and call you dad. Thinking of his rival's pitiful state, Mu Changfeng laughed again, gloating, he's just reaping what he sowed, serves him right. They say it's fun to torment your wife for a while, but chasing her back is like walking through a crematorium. He couldn't wait to see when Ji Chen would finally win back his beauty. He absolutely would not help Ji Chen persuade Bai Nuan. Instead, he would speak ill of Ji Chen in front of Bai Nuan, just to infuriate him. After all, ever since Ji Chen took over the Damu Group, he had been bullying him for his youth, constantly targeting the Damu Group and making his leadership quite difficult. It is said that revenge is a dish best served cold. Ji Chen probably never dreamed that one day he would fall into the hands of Mu Changfeng. A wife knows her husband best. From her husband's expression, Yuqing could easily guess what he was thinking. She said coolly, Speaking of which, Ji Chen should really thank you. If it weren't for your Mu family giving Nuan a job and taking care of the mother and child all these years, it would have been extremely difficult for Nuan to raise her son alone. Mu Changfeng, honey, whose side are you on? You just can't stand to see me happy, can you? I was just thinking Ji Chen is about to fall into my hands, and I'm going to drag him down as much as possible. making his journey to win his wife back long and difficult. And then you remind me that my family has been helping him support his wife and child all these years. Nuan isn't Jiyu Chen's wife yet. Jiyu Chen may want that, but Nuan has said she won't rekindle their past relationship. They'll probably just live like this for the rest of their lives. With Jiyu Lai connecting them, they can't completely break ties either, from a woman's perspective. Yuqing supports Nuan's decision not to forgive Jiyu Chen. That's great. From now on, whenever I see Jiyu Chen, I can show off my lovely wife and adorable child. Let him be jealous and envious. Ha ha ha, rivals are rivals, always trying to show off and provoke each other. Yuqing felt that whenever her husband faced Jiyu Chen, he became as childish as a kindergarten kid, even to the point where Qin Fan would disdain to associate with him. She put down the fruit plate, took out her phone, and sent a message to Lin Xiaojun, asking her and Mu Changze to come over for dinner in the evening. Anyway, it's Friday today, and tomorrow is the weekend. Xiaojun and the others don't have to work. In the evening, we can all get together for a meal and have a couple of drinks. It's just that she can't touch alcohol anymore. Mu Changfeng saw her sending a message and asked, "Why did you invite Changze and Secretary Lin as well?" "I told Nuan that I wanted to introduce her to Xiaojun. I consider Nuan a friend, and I want my friends to get to know and become familiar with each other. Oh, and also, let's invite President Ouyang and Jiari as well." Mu Changfeng grumbled inwardly. "He's treating this place like a restaurant, but as long as my wife is happy, it's fine." A servant entered the pavilion. She said to Yuqing with a smile, "Young mistress, someone from your family has come. The old lady asks you to return to the house." Hearing this, Yuqing said joyfully, "Is it my mother who has come?" "Yes, and also the young master's brother and sister-in-law." Xu Wei drove his mother over. Yuqing stood up and walked out of the pavilion, saying, "They must have brought me some food again." Knowing she was carrying twins, her family was also very happy. Her mother couldn't sit still and must have packed several sacks of local farm specialties to bring to her. Mu Changfeng quickly got up and chased after her, occasionally reminding her to slow down and not walk so fast. Yuqing was the fastest walker he had ever seen, truly swift and light on her feet. This was because Yuqing had worked in the orchard for years, walking along mountain paths, and over time, she developed a swift and steady gait, making her exceptionally fast. In the luxurious hall, the elderly lady chatted with Shu's mother about everyday matters. Xu Wei and Ling Xiaoqing had just finished moving the several sacks of local specialties they brought. They were the usual items, including 2 large bags of green vegetables. Knowing that Yuqing was staying in Muchangfeng's villa in the city, not at the mountain estate, and couldn't be self-sufficient in vegetables, Shu's mother sent her younger daughter 2 large bags of homegrown green vegetables. In fact, fresh vegetables are delivered daily from the mountain estate. The young mistress is now their national treasure. Mother Shu didn't know about this. She thought that the vegetables she grew herself used less pesticide, so they were safer to eat. Her daughter had finally become pregnant, and with twins at that, so she needed to be especially careful with her diet. If she had known that the Mu family villa delivered fresh vegetables every day, she wouldn't have sent so many greens over. It was all out of a mother's love. The old lady didn't mind it at all. In fact, she appreciated the simple, heartfelt gifts from the Shu family. When she had stayed with them before, she had been reluctant to leave. "Alas, I really miss the days in Wangnyo village." Ling Xiaoqing was visiting her second sister-in-law's house for the first time, last time. She couldn't make it because she was busy. Her family told her that since she had been married to Xu Wei for so long without getting pregnant, she should visit her second sister-in-law with her husband to share in her joy, hoping it might help her conceive sooner. This left Ling Xiaoqing both amused and exasperated. She and Xu Wei have a very good relationship. The reason they haven't had a child yet is that they feel they haven't had enough time together as a couple, as they married quite early. Right after she graduated from university, both of them wanted to earn more money so they could buy their own house and then have a child. The Shu family had several houses in town for rent, and their self-built house in Wangnyo village was also beautifully decorated, so they had no worries about not having a place to live. However, the couple felt that those houses belonged to their parents, not to them, and they still needed to work hard and buy their own house. Chapter 506, Meeting Mrs. Jiyu again. If their parents give them the property in the future, they will inherit it. If not, they still have a place to live. Ling Xiaoqing also had no objections to her in-laws giving each of her two older sisters-in-law a building as a dowry. Her sister had muttered in front of her, saying she had never seen daughters being given a share of the family property. Then, after being scolded by her and their mother, her sister didn't dare to mutter anything anymore. Those properties were accumulated through the hard work of my in-laws over a lifetime. They belong to them, and they can give them to whomever they wish. Xiaoqing, Xu Wei nudged his wife and asked her quietly, "Do you think our second sister's house is beautifully decorated?" Ling Xiaoqing shot him a glare and replied in a hushed tone, "Haven't you noticed what status second brother-in-law holds? How could his home not be beautiful? What? Are you thinking of buying me such a big villa in the future, decorated luxuriously, so I can enjoy it? That's only natural. I'm a person with goals too," Ling Xiaoqing said with a smile. "Then I'll be waiting for you to buy me a big villa. It doesn't have to be as big as second brother-in-law's, a slightly smaller one would be fine too. It's best to have both a front and a backyard. We can use the backyard to grow vegetables." Xu Wei, "Then I'll have to work hard." Xu Yuqing became the eldest daughter-in-law of the wealthiest family, yet none of her relatives thought about taking advantage of her or seeking any benefits. They only hoped that Yuqing would live a good life. Initially, Mu Gang had a bit of disdain for his in-laws, looking down on them for being from the countryside. However, he now realizes that he was being shallow, as his in-laws are not the kind of people who are after money. The betrothal gifts for Yuqing were planned by the Xu family to be entirely given back to the Mu family, and they would also provide a dowry for Xu Yuqing. A building in the town is an essential part of the dowry. Upon learning that the Xu family was giving their daughter a building in the town as a dowry, Mu Gang privately said to his wife, "Even wealthy families would consider such a dowry generous, let alone a rural family like the Zus." Jiang Ruojuan knew that he somewhat looked down on his daughter-in-law for being from the countryside, but she herself liked the daughter-in-law very much. Hearing her husband's words, she retorted, "So what if the Xu family is from the countryside? They don't eat your rice or spend your money. They live with integrity and earn their money honestly. Besides, the Xu family isn't poor. While there is a gap between our families, the Xu family's assets already place them among the wealthy. Don't look down on rural people anymore. Nowadays, those who live in the countryside are actually quite fortunate. The air is so much better. Look at our own family. Don't we also prefer living in a remote area? If I asked you to live in the city center, you'd complain about the noise." Mu Gang was scolded by his wife and didn't dare say a word, especially after learning that his daughter-in-law was pregnant. He didn't dare utter a single negative word about his in-laws or his daughter-in-law, afraid of being driven to the study by his wife, and even more afraid that she might go back to her parents' house again. Jiang Ruojuan said to him, "What you should be most grateful for is that your son didn't follow your arrangements and didn't end up with Fu Lingling. Otherwise, your head would have turned into a vast green pasture." Mu Gang, Mother Xu just came to see her daughter. When Yuqing returned, she saw that her daughter looked particularly radiant. Her complexion had become much fairer, and she felt that her daughter was growing more and more beautiful. She knew then that her daughter was living very well at her in-laws' home. She gave her daughter some instructions and went home without even eating. No matter how much her in-laws tried to persuade her to stay, she insisted on going home, saying she was worried about the work at the factory and needed to go back to help manage the processing plant. After seeing his mother-in-law off, Mu Changfeng said, "Qingqing, now I understand why you're such a workaholic. It runs in the family. Mom came all this way and didn't even stay for a meal, rushing back in such a hurry. With my mom so busy, my sister can finally have some peace and quiet. Initially, I suggested that my mother join the investment in the processing factory just to give her something to do, so she wouldn't have to focus on my divorced sister every day and pressure her to find a second chance at love. Unexpectedly, after my mother became one of the owners, she became so busy that she didn't even have time to stay for a meal, always in a hurry to go back and oversee her food processing factory." Mu Changfeng smiled. The day passed by quickly. It felt as if the sun had just risen in the east, and in the blink of an eye, it was already setting in the west. The entrance of the middle school where Jiu Lai studied was filled with all kinds of cars, all of which were parents coming to pick up their children and take them home. The children usually live and eat at school, only going home on weekends to spend time with their families. Nowadays, children are all treated like little emperors and princesses, and after missing them for a whole week, the parents naturally put aside their work and rush to pick them up as soon as the weekend arrives. Nuanuan borrowed Yuqing's car to come and pick up her son. She arrived a bit late, and there were no parking spots left near the school entrance. So she had to park the car a bit farther away. After she parked the car and hurried to the school gate, she unexpectedly saw Mr. and Mrs. Gu. The elderly couple hadn't spotted Nuan yet. With so many parents and students at the school gate, it was no surprise they hadn't noticed her. They were watching the two exits of the school gate, waiting for their grandson to appear. Nuan knew that the elderly couple came to the school gate every Friday, hoping to take Gu Lai back to the Gu family. Last time, Gu Lai was picked up by someone sent by Mu Changfeng, and the Gu family did not get their wish. This time, when the couple arrived, they did not see the Mu family's vehicle and thought the Mu family would not come to pick up Gu Lai again. Gu Lai is out, Mrs. Gu saw her grandson and happily said to her husband before walking forward, calling out as she went, Gu Lai, Grandma is here. She also waved to Gu Lai. Nuanuan did not walk over. She stood at the exit on this side of the school gate, watching her son come out from the exit on the other side. She also wanted to see how he would react when he saw his paternal grandparents coming to pick him up. Gu Lai walked out of the school gate alone, carrying his backpack. While others walked out of the school gate chatting and laughing with their classmates, he, by nature aloof and uninterested in making friends, walked alone. Even so, he was a prominent figure at school. Not only because of his handsome and cool appearance, but also because he was the youngest middle school student in the entire school, not yet 10 years old. Although his height was not particularly short, his young age was an undeniable fact. Even high school students often run outside his classroom to catch a glimpse of this popular figure. Mrs. Gu, disregarding her image, shouted her grandson's name, drawing the attention of many, especially since she was calling for Gu Lai. Upon hearing someone call out the name of the freshman's most talked-about student, everyone couldn't help but look. Those who hadn't seen Gu Lai before were particularly curious, wondering if he was as handsome and aloof as the rumors suggested. Seeing the elegant Mrs. Gu, who claimed to be Gu Lai's grandmother, many found it hard to believe. Mrs. Gu is well-maintained and looks like a middle-aged woman in her 40s. Gu Lai, Mrs. Gu finally squeezed her way to her grandson, smiling. She tried to take Gu Lai's backpack, saying, Gu Lai, give the backpack to Grandma, I'll carry it for you, it must be very heavy, you're still young and growing, don't let the backpack strain your spine. Chapter 507, Can we talk? Gu Lai raised his hand to block her outstretched arm and said coldly, no need. He scanned the school gate and spotted his mother in the crowd. His eyes lit up with joy. Mom is here. Mom didn't abandon him. She finally came to pick him up after school. Gu Lai ran towards his mother with his backpack on. Gu Lai, don't run so fast, it's crowded. Be careful not to bump into anyone. Seeing her grandson running, Mrs. Gu chased after him while calling out, Mr. Gu also followed, chasing after his grandson. Until the couple saw by Nuanuan, they stopped as if struck by lightning. Staring blankly at Nuanuan, Gu Lai ran up to his mother and called out, Mom. Nuanuan smiled in response and asked him, how was school this week? Is your backpack heavy? Do you want me to carry it for you? It feels good, as long as everyone doesn't always treat me like a monkey to watch. The backpack is heavy, but I don't need my mom to carry it for me. This is my backpack, and I'll carry it myself. Gu Lai, who took on responsibilities early, is self-reliant and independent. With excellent self-management skills, there's no way he would let his mom carry his backpack for him. Then, go say goodbye to them. And we'll head home, Nuanuan said gently. After all, they are your grandparents, and they've been waiting at the school gate to pick you up for a long time. For all these years relying on each other with her son, although Nuan resented Gu Chen and the Gu family, she never spoke ill of the Gu family in front of her son. She didn't want her son to live in hatred. Gu Lai pursed his lips before turning around and walking toward Mrs. Gu. He stopped about 2 meters away from her. My mom is here to pick me up after school. You can go back, there's no need to come pick me up in the future. I've said it before, my mom won't step into that house, and neither will I. Goodbye." He spoke coldly and firmly, then turned and walked toward his mother. She smiled warmly as she looked at him. As he approached, she walked alongside him and said, "There were no parking spots at the school gate, so I had to park a bit farther away. A short walk is no problem. You bought a car, Mom." Ji-yu Lai thought his mother had bought a car. He knew exactly how much savings the family had. Buying an apartment in the city center of Guangqing was out of the question. They didn't even have enough for the down payment. However, they did have enough to buy a car under 100,000 yuan. "No. I borrowed your Aunt Shu's car. We're going to her place now, have a meal there, and then head back to Ziyuan Court. I've rented a place there. It's the apartment your Uncle Mu used to rent." Now that he's revealed his true identity and doesn't need to pretend to be poor to deceive your Aunt Shu, he no longer needs to rent it. "Since we need a place, we've taken over the lease. Mom, are you not leaving anymore?" The mother said a lot, and Ji-yu Lai listened, summarizing it into one sentence. Nuanuan smiled. "I'm not leaving. It's no use even if I do. Your dad is like a piece of sticky candy. Wherever I go, he can find me. There's no shaking him off." After a moment of silence, Ji-yu Lai said, "He will beg Aunt Shu, he will beg Uncle Changfeng, so Mom can't shake him off. Don't underestimate him for being under 10 years old. He sees things very clearly." Nuanuan was taken aback for a moment, then smiled and said, "Ji-yu Lai, you really are becoming less and less like a 9-year-old child. I'll be 10 years old soon. 10 years old is still a child. One only becomes an adult at 18. Ji-yu Lai remained silent. After getting in the car, he finally asked, "He didn't follow you over?" He was referring to his father, Ji-yu Chen. "He probably hasn't even sobered up yet. Still at your grandma's house." Ji-yu Lai thought to himself, "No wonder I only saw Mom and not that clingy dad of his." After the mother and son got into the car, before Nuanuan could drive away, Mr. Ji-yu blocked their way. "Mrs. Ji-yu" then knocked on the car window. When Nuanuan rolled it down, she said coldly, "Nuanuan, do you have a moment to talk?" Nuanuan remained indifferent and replied, "I have nothing to say to you, Mrs. Ji-yu." Mrs. Ji-yu was left speechless. Indeed, there was nothing for the two of them to talk about. Mrs. Ji-yu couldn't let go of her arrogant pride, nor could she genuinely accept Nuanuan, always looking down on her for being the daughter of servants, even though Mr. and Mrs. Bai had been fired by her years ago. Nuanuan, on the other hand, remembered Mrs. Gu's schemes and the harm she had caused. If it weren't for Mrs. Gu's interference, she and Ji-yu Chen wouldn't have ended up in their current situation. 10 years had passed, and perhaps Nuanuan no longer hated Mrs. Ji-yu, but it was still impossible for her to interact with Mrs. Ji-yu calmly. She felt it was best if they never met again, to avoid mutual dislike. 10 years have passed, yet Mrs. Gu's opinion of her remains unchanged. She cannot rekindle her old love with Ji-yu Chen, partly because of her unresolved feelings, and partly because of Mrs. Ji-yu. 10 years ago, she was young and impulsive, believing that as long as Ji-yu Chen loved her and was willing to marry her, Mrs. Gu's disapproval wouldn't matter. Now, she understands very well that a marriage not liked by the in-laws will be very painful and will eventually end in divorce. She doesn't want to waste any more time on relationships. Mrs. Ji-yu looked at Ji-yu Lai sitting in the back seat of the car and said, Nuan, I just want to talk to you about Ji-yu Lai. He is my Ji-yu family's grandson and should recognize his roots and return to the Ji-yu family. Rest assured, we only want Ji-yu Lai to acknowledge his ancestry and live with the Ji-yu family. We won't stop you two from meeting, nor will we drive a wedge between you and your son." Before Nuan could speak, Ji-yu Lai said coldly, "Wherever my mother is, that's where I'll be. He will not return to the Ji-yu family, unless his parents reconcile and form a family again. He will only then return to the Ji-yu family with them." Ji-yu Lai, Mrs. Ji-yu felt deeply distressed. "For the sake of Nuan, my son hasn't come home for a long time and has neglected the company. As a result, the old man, who has been retired for so many years, has to go back to work at the company. The grandson is studying in Guangqing, which is very close to them, so it should be easy for them to see him. However, Mrs. Ji-yu feels that the grandson is still out of reach because he is not close to them, let alone acknowledging his family roots." Ji-yu Lai, your grandparents only want what's best for you and are thinking of your well-being. If you come back with us, it will also ease your mother's burden, Mrs. Ji-yu gently persuaded Ji-yu Lai to go back with them. Bai Nuan has already resigned from the Mu family villa and has not yet found a new job, without a source of income. It is very difficult for her to support her son, who is in middle school. Mrs. Ji-yu cannot bear the thought of her only grandson living a poor life. This is the young master of the Ji-yu family. How can he endure a hard life with Bai Nuan, who is poor? I can give birth to Ji-yu Lai, and I can raise him. Nuan said assertively. She has the money to raise her son and pay for his education. Ji-yu Lai, on the other hand, said, I have a scholarship, as long as I study hard. I can get a scholarship every semester. I don't need to spend my mom's money, and I can also ease her burden. Mrs. Ji-yu, no wonder he's her biological grandson, just as stubborn as her son, impossible to persuade. Bai Nuan is truly her nemesis. Having taken away her son and monopolized her grandson, with both her son and grandson completely under Nuan's control. Chapter 508, Ji-yu Lai is a top student. Nuan, I'm begging you, let's talk. Okay, Mrs. Ji-yu harbors deep resentment towards Nuan in her heart, but for the sake of her son and grandson, she has no choice but to lower her head to Nuan. She was utterly disgusted in her heart. She never expected that one day, as the esteemed lady of the Ji-yu family, she would have to humble herself before the daughter of a servant. From now on, any servant with a daughter would not be allowed to bring their daughter into the Ji-yu household, to prevent situations like the one between Ji-yu Chen and Nuan from happening again. In fact, she had already taken such measures as soon as she discovered that her son had fallen in love with Nuan. Except for dismissing Bai's father and mother, all other servants with daughters were required to sign a new agreement, ensuring they would not bring their daughters into the Ji-yu family. Even if they were just a few years old, Mrs. Ji-yu was afraid, even though she only had one son, Ji-yu Chen. Bai Nuan turned to look at her son and said to him, Ji-yu Lai, wait for Mom in the car, Mom needs to talk to her for a few words. Ji-yu Lai said, Mom, you're talking about things that concern me. I want to hear it. Mrs. Ji-yu, her only grandson, yet he was opposing her. Still, she couldn't bring herself to disown him. She could disown and disavow her daughter-in-law. But her grandson was of the Ji-yu family's bloodline. She couldn't just abandon him. After a moment of silence, Mrs. Ji-yu said gently, let Ji-yu Lai listen if he wants to, so you won't think Grandma is bullying your mom. So, both mother and son were about to get out of the car, but Mrs. Ji-yu said, no need to get out, just drive and follow our car. This is a school, and there's no suitable place for us to talk here. Nuan remained silent, tacitly agreeing to Mrs. Gu's arrangement. Mrs. Ji-yu gave Ji-yu Lai a deep look, then said to her husband, old Ji-yu, let's go. Mr. Ji-yu had heard the conversation between his wife and Nuan and her son, and knowing that his future daughter-in-law was willing to talk, he followed his wife with relief toward their luxury car parked not far away. After the luxury car started, there were 2 security vehicles following. The bodyguards had been in the cars the whole time and did not get out. This was arranged by Mr. Ji-yu. He instructed them not to follow too closely, fearing that the large entourage would attract unnecessary attention. Nuan slowly drove behind the security vehicles. Mom, Ji-yu Lai called out to his mother. Nuan said gently, Eli, it's all right, there's nothing for Mom to fear now. 10 years ago, she didn't manage to kill me, and 10 years later, she certainly won't be able to. Ji-yu Lai's expression turned cold. She had the intention to kill you, not exactly. She still values her blessings and knows that murder demands a life in return. Even as the head of the Ji-yu family, with power and influence, if she were to kill someone, she couldn't escape the punishment of the law. Eli, this is a matter for us adults. Don't get involved, no matter what. She is your biological grandmother. Whether her feelings for you are genuine or not, the fact remains that you share a blood relationship. Nuan did not treat her son as a child, she said. I've told you about the issues between me and your dad, but that's still a matter for us adults. You are Ji-yu Chen's son, and no matter how flawed he may be, he is still your biological father. As for you, the Ji-yu family cares a great deal about you. The coldness on Ji-yu Lai's face softened a little. He didn't like the Gu family, but he was still a descendant of the Gu family. His surname was Gu, he had wanted to take his mother's surname, Bai. But his grandparents stopped him and wouldn't allow him to change it. In the end, his mother also persuaded him, saying that no matter what surname he had, he would always be a descendant of the Gu family. A surname couldn't change that, so he gave up on changing his surname. Is my dad going to be okay? Gu Lai asked. He's fine, he just had a few extra drinks. Don't worry, he won't get alcohol poisoning. He usually drinks even more when he's socializing. Nuan knew that her son truly cared about his father, Jiu Chen. The boy had been longing for his father's love for many years. Only now did she realize that no matter how well she treated her son, a mother's love could never replace a father's love. He was a boy, and there were many things that required a father's guidance. Things that she, as a mother, couldn't easily bring up. Jiu Lai fell silent. He turned his head to look out the car window. Both sides of the road by the school gate were planted with many ornamental trees, well maintained. She had heard they were called golden trumpet trees. Every spring, when the earth came back to life, the golden trumpet trees along the road would bloom, creating a beautiful golden scene. Jiu Lai heard it from his classmates. The classmates said that every spring, when the yellow trumpet trees are in full bloom, many citizens come here to check in and take photos. He thought that next spring, when the yellow trumpet trees are in full bloom, he would see how beautiful they are. Jiu Lai, don't you get along well with your classmates? Nuanuan suddenly asked her son. After a moment of silence, Jiu Lai said, it's fine, no one bullies me, and I don't bully them. Nuanuan told him, you should be gentler with your classmates, don't keep a straight face all the time, you're still a child, being so serious won't help you make friends. I hope you can make a few good friends. But Jiu Lai replied, Mom, I do have friends. Fan, Yeye, and Wei Wei are all my friends. They're sincere and pure, not like the others with all their complicated thoughts. I don't like that. Although he doesn't like to talk or interact with his classmates, he is well aware of how others perceive him. Some people want to get close to him to increase their own exposure and fame. Some want to learn his study methods and adopt them. And surprisingly, some are simply attracted to his good looks. Jiu Lai has his own unique approach to studying, but his methods are something his classmates can't easily replicate. He also has an exceptional memory, which makes it difficult for his peers to surpass him. He has already self-studied the entire first semester of 7th grade material, even though the school year has not yet been a month old, because he started learning the first semester curriculum during the summer break. Next, he will self-study the knowledge from the second semester of the first year of junior high and the curriculum of the second year. By next September, he plans to skip a grade and directly enter the third year of junior high. The teachers at the school also pay special attention to him. Even the principal smiles when he sees him, treating him as if he were his own son. In the teacher's eyes, Jiu Lai is a prodigy. Jiu Lai doesn't consider himself a prodigy. He simply believes he has a good memory and strong comprehension skills. During his self-study, he occasionally encounters concepts he doesn't understand, but after seeking guidance from his teachers and receiving a few pointers, he is able to grasp them thoroughly. Mom said his dad was also very smart when he was in school, having skipped grades in both elementary and middle school. After high school, he stopped skipping grades because he was too young and wanted to live the life of a normal student. So he gave up on continuing to skip grades. After learning about his parents' love story, Jiu Lai felt that his dad did it for his mom. Now that he has no one to wait for, he might as well finish his studies early, enter society sooner to earn money and support the family, so his mother doesn't have to work so hard. Once he becomes strong, he'll see who dares to bully or look down on his mother again. Nuanuan, Fan and Yaya are too far apart in age from you. There will inevitably be a generation gap between you sooner or later. Chapter 509, Jiu Chen arrives. Jiu Lai said with certainty, no, Yaya and Fan both like me a lot. And I like them too. Ever since they started walking, they've been playing with me. He really liked that pair of siblings. There were quite a few children of the workers at the villa. But he just couldn't get along with others. Those kids probably didn't like playing with him either, thinking he was too cold-natured. But Qin Fan and Qin Yu didn't mind his coldness or his lack of words. They liked him, so he liked them. Nuanuan smiled and said, if you and Fan keep playing together like this, You could really be considered childhood friends when you grow up. Fan Fan and Yaya are such sensible children. Mom really likes them too, especially Yaya. She's so soft and sweet. I wish I could take her home and make her my daughter. Jiu Lai's face darkened a little. Does Mom like daughters more than sons? Oh, you're actually jealous. That's rare. That's Yaya, your favorite Yaya. Mom likes them. So you should be happy. Mom doesn't favor daughters over sons or sons over daughters. She loves both. But she only gave birth to you, a son, and never had the fortune of having a daughter in this lifetime. Jiu Lai wanted to say, can't we have a daughter in the future? He also wanted to have a younger sister. Thinking about his parents' still tense relationship, Jiu Lai swallowed the words that were on the tip of his tongue. Perhaps he would never have a younger brother or sister in this lifetime. However, he still had Yaya and Fan Fan, who had been friends with him for many years. They called him brother, and he was their brother. No matter what their father's relationship was, in his heart, that brother and sister were his younger siblings. Mom. I think I just saw him, Jiu Lai said to his mother while turning his head to look at a tall man who had just walked past their car. Even though the man wasn't wearing a suit, he was still like a magnet, attracting a lot of attention wherever he went. He is so tall, so handsome, and yet so cool. Everyone says he looks just like his father. Seeing his father as he is now, Jiu Lai can imagine what he will look like when he grows up. His father is so outstanding that, for the past 10 years, no other woman has been able to win him over. His feelings for his mother run deep. However, loving deeply and hurting deeply, now regretting and begging for forgiveness, is that an easy thing to do? Who is it? There were too many cars, and Nuanuan's car was moving very slowly. When the car in front paused, she had to stop as well. She looked outside. It was either parents or students, or all kinds of vehicles. Jiu Chen. Jiu Lai uttered 2 words. Nuanuan said to him, you must be seeing things. Your dad is already drunk. When Mom comes back, he'll be fast asleep, probably just waking up now. It takes some time to get back to the city center of Guangqing from your grandma's house. There's no way he could have made it back so quickly. Nuanuan thought her son was seeing things. Besides, he's been drinking. So he shouldn't be driving. Jiu Lai pursed his lips and said, Mom, I'm not nearsighted. That's my dad. I wouldn't mistake him for someone else. It's definitely him. His father shouldn't drive after drinking, but he could hire a designated driver. Mom, he probably came to pick me up from school too, Jiu Lai said. He wanted to get out of the car, but he didn't say it outright, worried that his mother might not be pleased. After learning the reason for his parents' separation, he also resented and hated his father's family, feeling as though he could never forgive them. After spending some time together, Jiu Lai realized that he couldn't treat his father the same way his mother did. He would constantly observe his father's every move. When his father was hungry, he would use the excuse of feeding the dog to bring a bowl of food out to his father. Every time he brought food to his father, he felt guilty toward his mother. It was only after Nuan noticed her son's inner conflict and had a long talk with him that Jiu Lai was able to stop struggling with his feelings. Nuan didn't respond. After a while, as the car in front was about to move, Nuan finally said, if you're sure that's your dad, get out and go to him. Mom will go talk to them. If that person isn't your dad, call me, and I'll come back to pick you up. Mom, don't worry about Mom. Your mom isn't the Nuan from 10 years ago. Back then, I loved your dad deeply, which is why I got hurt by them. But if I don't love him anymore, they mean nothing to me and can't hurt me again. Jiu Lai also saw it. At a disadvantage now are his own grandparents. Nuanuan unlocked the car. Jiu Lai opened the car door and got out. Then he stood by the roadside, watching his mother's car merge into the traffic. 2 minutes later, he finally walked toward the school gate. Jiu Lai did not mistake the person. The one he saw was indeed Jiu Chen. It was rare for him to have a meal with Nuanuan, and Jiu Chen was very happy. At Nuanuan's suggestion, he drank a few glasses of wine with Nuanuan's father. And Nuanuan also had some wine. After drinking, he was slightly drunk. Listening to the ramblings of his future father-in-law, he actually fell asleep. He thought that Nuanuan had also drunk alcohol and might have fallen asleep, but to his surprise, after waking up, Mrs. Bai told him that Nuanuan had left long ago. Only then did Jiu Chen realize that he had been tricked by Nuanuan. She didn't want to leave with him, so she made him drink, whether he got drunk or not. He couldn't drive after drinking, which meant he had to stay at the Bai family's place. After learning that Nuanuan had left, Ji Chen immediately hired a designated driver and rushed back. Nuanuan was coming to pick up her son from school, and he didn't even go home first, heading straight to the school. Seeing so many parents picking up their children, Ji Chen stared intently at the two exits of the school, hoping in his heart that his son hadn't come out yet, so that he could see Nuanuan when he picked him up. The school had a large number of students, except for the third-year junior high and third-year high school students. All other grades were dismissed at this time, making the crowd particularly dense. He searched through the crowd but couldn't find Nuanuan, so he could only pin his hopes on his son. Ji Lai walked up behind his father. As if there was a telepathic connection between father and son, Ji Chen suddenly turned his head and saw his son standing behind him. Ji Lai, Ji Chen called out to his son with joy. Ji Lai looked at him without saying a word. Did you just come out? I've been watching for a while, not daring to miss anyone. But I didn't see you. Where is your backpack? Ji Chen asked his son while also looking around, still saying, your mom said she would pick you up after school. You're already out. So why isn't she here? My mom left her. Ji Chen's gaze finally returned to his son. Your mom left? Where did she go? Have you already met? He rushed back in a hurry, but did he still miss it? Yeah, my mom just picked me up earlier. I was planning to go with her, but when I saw you, I got out of the car to find you so you wouldn't wait here for nothing. Ji Chen felt an indescribable sense of disappointment. Nuan had already picked up her son, and upon seeing him approach, she would rather put her son down than meet him. Where is your mom's car parked? Ji Chen still held onto a glimmer of hope. Chapter 510. What do you need face for? It's not parked anywhere. It's gone. You're here to pick me up, right? I'll ride back with you. Ji Lai said. Right. Dad is here to pick you up. Did your mom just leave you alone and drive off by herself? Ji Chen wanted to take his son's hand. Ji Lai shook off his hand, his face stern, and said coldly, I'm not a child anymore. I don't need you to hold my hand. He is much taller than his peers, and with his naturally cold demeanor and early maturity, many people who see him think he is in his teens. No one believes he is a child not yet 10 years old. Ji Chen laughed and said, in your father's eyes, you're still a child. And besides, you really are a child, not even 10 yet. All right, I won't hold your hand while we walk. Under his son's glare, Ji Chen had no choice but to give in. His son is his spitting image, so much like him, and it makes him very happy. While feeling happy, there was also a sense of helplessness, because not only did the son look like him, but his personality was also very similar. In the end, Ji Chen placed an arm around his son's shoulder, acting like a good buddy, and walked off with his arm around him. Ji Lai once again removed his hand, not allowing him to walk with his arm around him like that. Ji Chen had no choice but to walk alongside him. Mom said we're going to Uncle Changfeng's for dinner tonight. You can take me there, and I'll wait at Uncle Changfeng's for Mom to come back. Ji Lai didn't allow his father to get close to him, yet he revealed where he and his mother would be that evening, creating an opportunity for his parents to meet. He felt his father didn't deserve forgiveness, but he also didn't want to see his parents always in a cycle of one avoiding and the other chasing, with both of them neglecting him, their son. In the process, if his parents could talk things out properly, instead of one hiding and the other chasing as they do now, even if they were like strangers, he would be willing to accept it. At the very least, he wouldn't be abandoned or ignored by them anymore, since his mother returned this time. It seemed she had come to terms with many things. Ji Lai began creating opportunities for his father. Hearing this, Ji Chen's handsome face darkened. Going to Mu Changfeng's house for dinner. Ji Lai turned his head to look at his father and said coldly, it doesn't matter if you don't want to go. Aunt Shu invited us to dinner, and she definitely only invited Mom and me. Meaning, even if Ji Chen went, he would be an uninvited guest. Ji Chen, Lai, well, your dad and your Uncle Changfeng, well, don't get along very well. In business, Dad and he compete fiercely. If I go to his house, he might not even be willing to offer me a glass of water when the time comes. I'll have to watch you all eat while I can't even sit at the table. It would be very awkward for me. Mainly, he's going to be laughed at by Mu Changfeng again. Just the thought of Mu Changfeng's gloating expression made Ji Chen feel as if Mu Changfeng's home was a mountain of knives and a sea of fire. Does Dad still have any face left in front of Uncle Changfeng? What do you need face for? Just sit down and eat. It's not like Uncle Changfeng is going to snatch your bowl away. Uncle Changfeng isn't that petty. Ji Chen, son, your dad cares about his face. Your dad really cares about his face, especially in front of Mu Changfeng. But Dad, you've long lost face in front of Uncle Changfeng. For my mom's sake, you gave up your dignity long ago, offering it up for Uncle Changfeng to trample on. Now you talk about saving face and dignity. Is there any point? Ji Chen opened his mouth but couldn't utter a single word in rebuttal. His son, when he doesn't speak. He doesn't speak, but when he does, his words cut deep. If Dad swallows his pride and comes with me, remember to buy some gifts to bring along later. We can't go empty-handed. Ji Chen widened his eyes. I still have to buy a gift. That's the proper etiquette. Besides, Dad should be grateful to Uncle Changfeng. If it weren't for Uncle Changfeng and his family giving my mom a job and taking care of her and me all these years, who knows what would have happened to us? Dad owes Uncle Changfeng a huge favor, one that's hard to repay, and he can't just deny it. Ji Chen, after a while, he muttered, your mom wasn't freeloading, she worked too, she earned the wages she deserved. Where could a heavily pregnant woman find a job? Ji Chen was left speechless. All right. Your father owes your Uncle Changfeng a huge favor. He has been a great benefactor to our family of 3. I will find an opportunity to repay him in the future. I believe I've also mentioned to him that if there's ever anything he needs my help with, I will spare no effort to assist him. We'll go to the supermarket later to buy some things to bring along. Don't you really like the 2 little ones from the Qin family? Let's get them some delicious snacks and fun toys. Seeing that his father had come to his senses and was no longer stuck in the past conflicts with Mu Changfeng, Ji Lai simply nodded and didn't say anything more to his father. Meanwhile, Nuan was driving alone, following Mr. and Mrs. Ji. As she drove, she realized they were heading back to the Ji family mansion. Nuan couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. They had changed their minds upon seeing Ji Lai insist on following. Now wanting to bring the mother and son back to the Ji family mansion, they also hoped to show Ji Lai the favorable environment of the Ji family, using it to persuade him to acknowledge his roots and return to the Ji family. Ji Lai was not someone so easily impressed. Having grown up in the Mu family villa, what kind of luxury had he not seen? Thinking of this, Nuan felt even more grateful to the Mu family. Half an hour later, the luxury car in which Mrs. Ji was sitting drove into the Ji family mansion, followed by 2 security vehicles. However, Nuan did not follow but parked her car at the entrance of the villa, making it convenient to leave. Noticing that Nuan's car had not entered the villa, Mrs. Ji quickly got out of the car as soon as it came to a stop and walked out, saying to Nuan, drive the car inside. No need, you can just stop here. Once we're done talking, I'll leave. Nuan pushed the car door open and got out. Mrs. Ji didn't say anything more. She saw Nuan get out of the car and went to open the rear door, but to her surprise, Nuan said, Ji Lai isn't in my car. Mrs. Ji was taken aback. She turned to look at Nuan and asked, wasn't he in your car? I saw him. She still opened the back door of the car and, sure enough, only saw her grandson's backpack on the seat, with no sign of her son's little lookalike. Where is Ji Lai? By Nuan. Where did you leave my grandson? Unable to see her grandson, Mrs. Gu's expression darkened as she glared at Nuan and questioned her. Nuan said with a half smile, didn't Mrs. Ji want to talk to me? I agreed to your request and came all this way with you. Now that Ji Lai isn't here, you don't want to talk anymore. At the school gate, didn't you also not want Ji Lai to hear our conversation? Mrs. Gu's face darkened. My grandson was clearly in your car. Now he's not here. Did you drop him off along the way? By Nuan. Ji Lai is just a child, not even 10 years old. How could you drop him off halfway? Aren't you afraid something might happen to him? Is this how a mother should act? If you can't take good care of my grandson, then give him back to me. I'll take care of him. Chapter 511, Admitting Defeat. I've said it before, if you can get Ji Lai to follow you, I have no objections. Nuan was questioned and accused by Mrs. Ji, but she didn't get angry. When dealing with Mrs. Gu, as long as she gets angry, Mrs. Gu wins. If she doesn't get angry, Mrs. Gu will instead be driven mad with rage. Mrs. Gu was left speechless. Gu Lai wouldn't even call her grandma, let alone go back to the Gu family with her. Staring at Nuan for a long moment, Mrs. Gu finally softened. She said, "I know you've taught Gu Lai to be very self-sufficient, and he took charge of things early on, but is still a child under 10. If you let him get out of the car halfway like that, what if something happens? Gu Chen is here," Nuan said indifferently. Gu Lai saw his dad, so he got out of the car to find him. "Mrs. Gu," she scolded Nuan angrily and resentfully, "couldn't you just tell me the reason directly?" Mrs. Gu started scolding me right away, and it put me in a bad mood. I just didn't want to say anything. What can Mrs. Gu do about it? Mrs. Gu was furious again. She turned and headed back toward the villa. Nuan stood still. It took Mrs. Gu a while to realize that Nuan wasn't following her. She asked the butler to come out and invite Nuan inside. Nuan still stood motionless and said to the butler, "Mrs. Gu is so angry. Who knows if she sincerely wants to invite me in or is just pretending? I'm afraid if I go in, she'll scold me to death. Besides, 10 years ago, she said she would never allow me to set foot in the Gu family mansion again. Go in and tell your mistress to come out and invite me in herself. Only then will I dare to believe she is sincere." 10 years ago, Mrs. Gu had driven her parents and her out of the Gu family mansion, saying she would never accept her and forbidding her from ever setting foot in the mansion again. Coincidentally, Nuan didn't want to go in either. The butler was originally an old worker of the Gu family. He was promoted to butler after Mr. Bai was fired. He knew about the things between Nuan and the young master. It could be said that he was a witness to the relationship between Gu Chen and Nuan. Putting aside the status gap, no wonder it feels so warm. Gu Chen is overly domineering. He claimed Nuan early on, forbidding her from dating other men and insisting she stay only with him. Nuan and Gu Chen grew up together as childhood sweethearts. Unable to resist Gu Chen's advances, she accepted his feelings. Even before the two were in a relationship, Mrs. Gu was actually quite kind to Nuan. After all, Nuan grew up in the Gu family, and Mrs. Gu had watched her grow up. She had even told the Bai parents that when Nuan was ready to get married, she would help introduce her to a high-quality man. With so many talented young men in the Gu group, any one of them would be more outstanding than the average man. But she never expected that Nuan would end up becoming a couple with her precious son. Even if it was her son who first broke the ice, it was also her son who was overly domineering, secretly driving away all the men who had designs on Nuan, making her gradually fall into his deep pit of love. Mrs. Gu was still furious. She initially wanted to reason with him. She knew the main issue lay with her son, so she talked to him, explaining that the gap between their status and Nuan's was too wide. The Gu family was a wealthy household, and the daughter-in-law would eventually become the matriarch of the Gu family. How could she be the daughter of a servant? But her son wouldn't listen. Moreover, the more she opposed, the more obsessed her son became with Nuan. Furious, she resorted to all kinds of methods to break up the couple. She thought that as long as Nuan disappeared, her son would eventually let go. Who would have thought that after learning the truth, her son would resent her as his mother? Although for 10 years, he forbade anyone from mentioning Nuan in his presence, he had been sending people everywhere to search for her. No one knew how desperately he had missed Nuan over the past decade. Now, her son resents her, Nuan refuses to forgive her, and her grandson is unwilling to acknowledge her. Mrs. Gu no longer knows whether all she did was right or wrong. Nuan. The butler called out to Nuan, but ultimately sighed and turned back to the villa. 10 years ago, what the mistress said was known to everyone working in the Gu household. The butler walked into the magnificent main house. Mr. Gu was speaking to his wife. "You said you wanted to talk to Nuan, but now you're scolding her. How can she talk to you like this? No wonder she doesn't want to come in. Why would she come in just to be scolded? I've told you countless times to be calm and composed," Mrs. Gu said with a dark expression. "If it weren't for my grandson, I wouldn't bother looking at her. She made my grandson get out of the car halfway without even telling me. She's got your only son and only grandson in her hands now. Can't you control your temper? Look at Ji Chen. It's been so long since he's been home, and there's a mountain of work at the company. I'm getting old, retired for 10 years. And now I have to go back to the company and work like a dog. If Mr. Ji doesn't return to the Ji group, he's afraid the company will fall into chaos. Seeing the butler come in, Mr. Ji asked him, "Why didn't you invite Nuan in?" The butler looked at the lady's expression and hesitated to speak, stammering a bit. "Has she left?" Seeing the butler hesitate, Mrs. Ji thought Nuan had left on her own, and the anger that had just been soothed by her husband flared up again. "Madam, you once said that Nuan was not allowed to set foot in the Ji family again. Nuan said that unless you personally invite her in, she will not come in." Mrs. Ji, suppressing her anger with great effort, Mrs. Ji abruptly stood up and strode out. Worried that his wife and Nuan would clash again, Mr. Ji quickly followed her out with the butler. Instead of inviting Nuan into the villa, Mrs. Ji confronted her directly at the door. "By Nuan. What exactly do you want our family to do? To what extent must we go for you to return my son and grandson to me?" Nuan said with a laugh, "You take care of the one you gave birth to, and I'll take care of the one I gave birth to. What's wrong with the one I gave birth to living with me? As for the one you gave birth to, whether he comes home or not, what does it have to do with me? If even you, as his mother, can't control him, what right do I, an outsider, have to interfere?" Mrs. Ji. Mrs. Ji, I'll say it again, even if Ji Lai is your grandson, he's old enough to understand things and has his own thoughts. If you can convince him to go back to the Ji family with you, I won't say a word against it, but if he doesn't want to come back, don't force him. After all, in his 9 years of life, the word grandmother has never been a part of it. If Mrs. Ji can bring Ji Chen back, I'd even thank her, because it would finally give me some peace and quiet. And I wouldn't have to face a man who has deeply hurt me every day. Mrs. Ji suddenly deflated like a balloon. She smiled bitterly. "Nuan, I lost completely. Although I still don't like you and can't accept you as my daughter-in-law, I'm old, and I don't want to cause any more trouble. Guchen's love for you has never changed. It was my fault in the past. Please forgive Guchen." Chapter 512, Son becomes the son-in-law of his rival. Nuan remained silent. The current Mrs. Ji is not as domineering as she was 10 years ago. She can face Ji Chen regarding their past, but she cannot bring herself to forgive him or get back together with him. She doesn't have a masochistic streak, after being hurt so deeply by him. She can't just be with him again without any reservations. After a long silence, she said to Mrs. Ji, "I won't leave again this time. I'll live the life I want to live. As for Ji Chen and me, we're just Ji Lai's parents." "You've said all you wanted to say, Mrs. Ji. It's getting late, and the eldest daughter-in-law of the Mu family has invited me to dinner. I shouldn't keep her waiting, so I'll be going now." After speaking, Nuan didn't wait for Mrs. Ji to respond. She turned around, got back into the car, and drove away. The three people present listened to Nuan's words, each feeling heavy-hearted. After an unknown amount of time, Mrs. Ji said resentfully, "I never said I wanted you to marry Ji Chen. You begged Nuan to marry your son." But she still refused. Mr. Ji responded to his wife, "Didn't you hear Nuan say it? She and our son are just the parents of our grandchild. They might stay like this for the rest of their lives. Sigh, if only time could turn back, I would let them be together. Unfortunately, time cannot be turned back." In truth, both of them regretted it. Mrs. Ji is just being stubborn with her words. If Nuan is willing to forgive Ji Chen and agrees to marry him, Mrs. Ji would definitely not stand in their way. Zhao Corporation. It was already after work hours, but young Master Zhao was still sitting at his desk, holding a desk calendar in one hand and a pen in the other, circling the date for Saturday, which is tomorrow, several times. Ring ring ring. The internal phone rang. Zhao Sishao hadn't left, so his secretary didn't dare to leave either. Putting down his pen, Zhao Sishao pressed the speakerphone button, and the secretary's voice came through. "Vice President Zhao, Miss Wen is here." Zhao Sishao grunted in acknowledgement and said, "Got it, let her in. It's time to get off work. Go have your meal. I won't be entertaining any guests tonight." After saying that, he hung up the call. Soon, Miss Wen pushed the door open and entered. Zhao Sishao put the desk calendar back in its place. Miss Wen didn't see him putting it back, nor did she know that he had circled a few dates for tomorrow. "Cheng Ji, I'm here to pick you up after work. Let's go home and have dinner together. Auntie called me earlier and said that no matter what, I have to bring you back for dinner tonight." Miss Wen was wearing an elegant dress with light makeup, looking much fresher. It was young Master Zhao who said he preferred her natural and simple appearance, disliking heavy makeup, as he felt it concealed her natural beauty. As a result, Miss Wen changed her usual habits and began dressing more elegantly, while Zhuang Xini, on the other hand, started dressing more flamboyantly, as if she were trying to compete with Miss Wen. Miss Wen inwardly mocked Zhuang Xini, thinking that her own simple and elegant style was what Brother Cheng liked, indicating that he preferred girls who looked clean and fresh, not the kind of flashy dressing that Zhuang Xini favored. Zhao Sishao said gently, "You could have just called me. There was no need to come in person." He stood up, picked up the phone on the desk, walked around the desk, and approached Miss Wen. He didn't give Miss Wen a chance to get closer, lest she notice the circled date on the desk calendar. Xu Yuqing had said she would treat him to a meal this weekend as a thank you for his help. Zhao Sishao was afraid he would be too busy, so he deliberately circled the date on the desk calendar a few times to avoid forgetting. If he forgot, Xu Yuqing would definitely not kindly remind him. She would be more than happy if he forgot. "I'll come pick you up after work when I have time." Miss Wen treated fourth young Master Zhao with all her heart and soul, just as fourth young Master Zhao had once treated Zhuang Xini. Privately, Miss Wen and Zhuang Xini were already at odds. But in front of fourth young Master Zhao, Miss Wen knew how to behave appropriately. She wouldn't cause a scene in his presence, nor did she interfere with his continued interactions with Zhuang Xini. After all, she had the support of Mrs. Zhao. Zhao Sishao was also treating her better and better. Miss Wen felt that the position of the fourth young mistress of the Zhao family was firmly hers. Zhao Sishao didn't say anything more when Miss Wen actively wrapped her arm around his. He frowned but did not shake her off, allowing her to cling to him affectionately. He did need a wife. Jiyu Chen hired a designated driver to take the father and son to the large villa where Mu Changfeng usually lived. The car stopped at the entrance of the villa. After paying the driver, he sat in the car, gazing at the villa in front of him, and turned to ask his son in the back seat, "Son, are we really going in? Did your mom really say that Mu Changfeng invited us to dinner?" Jiyu Lai pushed the car door open and got out, saying, "Mom said Aunt Shu invited the two of us to dinner." "Dad, you weren't invited." Jiyu Chen also got out of the car. He walked to the front door very reluctantly, and after a long while, he finally put on the posture of someone heading to the guillotine and pressed the doorbell heavily. "Brother Jiyu Lai is here," Qin Fan and Qin Yu shouted with joy. The two siblings were accompanying their mother for a walk in the yard and were just about to go back inside when they saw the father and son of the Jiyu family standing at the entrance of the villa. The little brother and sister immediately came bouncing over. "Brother Jiyu Lai," Qin Yu called out sweetly. Jiyu Chen looked at his son beside him and noticed that when the boy saw Qin Yu, his icy expression melted by 70%. He knew that his son was very fond of Mu Changfeng's adopted children, especially the little girl named Yeye. Somehow, Jiyu Chen seemed to see his childhood self and Nuan. His heart skipped a beat. Could it be that his son wants to become childhood sweethearts with Qin Yu, such a smart and outstanding son, becoming the son-in-law of his arch-rival? He and Mu Changfeng becoming in-laws. Just the thought of it made Jiyu Chen feel terrible. Yuqing also saw the father and son from the Jiyu family. She followed behind the two children as she walked over. A servant also came out to open the door. Upon seeing Yuqing open it, the servant then turned around to attend to other tasks. "Aunt Shu," Jiyu Lai greeted politely. "Miss Shu." Jiyu Chen smiled sheepishly. "I'm sorry to come unannounced and disturb you." Yuqing laughed. "No trouble at all, I knew you would come." Nuan couldn't shake off Jiyu Chen. Jiyu Chen felt even more embarrassed. Qin Fan and Qin Yu also politely greeted Jiyu Chen. Jiyu Chen smiled and nodded in response to the children's greetings, his gaze involuntarily lingering on Qin Yu. The young siblings grew up under Mu Changfeng's care and were very well-mannered. Despite his strained relationship with Mu Changfeng, he quite liked this pair of siblings. Qinyu didn't know what Jiyu Chen was thinking. After greeting him, she instead clung to Jiyu Lai's leg. Jiyu Lai bent down, picked up Qinyu, and gently asked her, "Yaya, have you missed brother Jiyu Lai?" Yaya often thinks of brother Jiyu Lai. "Mom said you were coming for dinner tonight, so my brother and I have been waiting." "Brother Jiyu Lai, why are you so late? It's almost dark. I thought you weren't coming." The little girl complained that Jiyu Lai had arrived too late. Chapter 513, Untitled. Jiyu Lai smiled and said, "I promised Aunt Shu I would come for dinner, so I definitely had to come. We went to the supermarket, bought some things, and it took a bit of time, which is why I'm a little late." He glanced at his father. It meant asking his father to bring the gifts down from the car. Jiyu Chen turned around and took the things he and his son had bought out of the car. Most of these gifts were actually toys for the two children. There were quite a few things bought, and Jiyu Lai knew that his father couldn't carry so many things alone. So he put down Qinyu. He helped bring the toys over and distributed them to Qin Fan and Qinyu, saying gently, "Fan Fan, Yaya, these are the toys brother Jiyu Lai got for you." The little siblings took the toys and quickly thanked him. Yuqing smiled and said, "Jiyu Lai, they already have plenty of toys. You don't need to keep buying them toys." "Auntie Shu, I don't send them often. It's just that when I was shopping at the supermarket, I saw these toys and thought they looked fun. So I bought a few for Fan Fan and Yaya." Anyway, it didn't cost him any money. It was all paid for by his dad. "Mr. Jiyu, there's no need to be so polite." Unable to persuade Jiyu Lai, Yuqing could only address Jiyu Chen instead. On which occasion did Jiyu Chen bring a gift? This time, being so polite, it's probably because Jiyu Lai requested it. It's nothing valuable, just a small token of appreciation. "I hope Miss Shu won't find it unworthy." Hearing steady footsteps, Jiyu Chen looked up and saw Mu Changfeng walking toward the door. His face tightened. "Ching Ching, who's here?" Mu Changfeng walked over and saw Jiyu Chen holding large and small gift bags in both hands. He exclaimed, "Oh, it's President Jiyu. I wonder what wind has blown you here today, bringing you to my humble abode." "Changfeng, a guest is a guest. Please invite President Jiyu inside first, and the two of you can chat slowly." Yuqing didn't allow the two to start a fight at the door. She politely invited Jiyu Chen into the house. Mu Changfeng pursed his lips, then walked close to his wife and muttered quietly, "Jiyu Chen really has some nerve, showing up uninvited, for Jiyu Lai's sake. Don't be too harsh on him later." Mu Changfeng then glanced at the spitting image of Jiyu Chen, who was holding his two children, and said with displeasure, "What face does Jiyu Lai have? If it weren't for the fact that you and Bai Nuan get along well, I wouldn't even have let the two of them in." "Here." Mu Changfeng called out to his daughter. All three children stopped. "Dad, what's wrong?" Qinyu asked her father. Mu Changfeng waved to her and said affectionately, "Come here. Let Daddy hold you." "Dad, I'm grown up now. I don't need to be carried. I can walk by myself." Mu Changfeng took 2 steps forward and picked up his daughter, Jiyu Lai, who was holding Qinyu's hand, tactfully let go. "You're not even 5 yet. In Dad's eyes, you're still a child." Mu Changfeng carried his daughter and strode into the house. "Qinyu, she wants to walk with brother Jiyu Lai." Jiyu Lai was fully aware of it, but he calmly held Qin Fan's hand and followed her into the house. Jiyu Chen watched the scene and muttered to himself, "What does Mu Changfeng mean by this? Is he trying to prevent his son from pursuing Qinyu? The cabbage? Does Mu Changfeng think he's eager to become in-laws?" Jiyu Chen only dared to complain in his heart, not daring to say it out loud. After all, the child is still young. It's far too early to talk about marriage alliances. If Jiyu Lai truly falls for Qinyu in the future, there's nothing he can do but accept it. He and Nuan loved each other but couldn't be together, enduring 10 years of separation. Now, with no room for reconciliation, he won't let his son taste that bitterness. After everyone sat down in the hall, Yuqing couldn't be bothered to watch the two men bicker. They used to be bitter rivals. Although Jiyu Chen no longer manages the Jiyu Corporation, he had targeted Mu Changfeng in the past, and Mu, being petty, remembers every single incident. Rarely does Jiyu Chen stumble, and Mu Changfeng feels uneasy if he doesn't take the chance to mock him a few times. "Jiyu Lai, how is school?" Yuqing asked with concern about Jiyu Lai's situation at school. "Very well, I've already adapted to school life. Thank you for your concern, Aunt Shu." Yuqing nodded. The elderly lady nearby, holding Qin Yu in her arms, said to her granddaughter-in-law with a smile, Ji Lai is a good child, very capable of taking care of himself. While others might struggle with boarding school, he won't. Ji Lai, take Fan Fan and Ye out to play for a while. They've been at school for 5 days, studying every day, and they're tired. Weekends are for relaxing. The elderly lady asked Ji Lai to take the 2 children out to play. Food will be ready soon. I'll have someone call you back. Ji Lai nodded. Qin Fan and Qin Yu were overjoyed. Yuqing wanted to ask about Ji Lai's academic performance, but the old lady laughed and said, no need to ask him, even in junior high school, he remains the envy of other parents. He truly is the child of other families. None of the Mu family's children and grandchildren were as remarkable as Ji Lai in their youth. The Ji family is truly blessed. Nuan has taught him very well. The old lady already had a good impression of Nuan. Thinking it was not easy for her to raise a child alone and still teach the child so well, so she always encouraged everyone to help Nuan more. After learning about Nuan's true situation, she felt even more sympathy and heartache for her. Nuan is a few years older than Chang Feng. If she were the same age or a few years younger, and paired with Chang Feng, the Mu family would never look down on her for being the daughter of a servant. Although Nuan's parents work in domestic service, they are honest and upright, never stealing or taking what isn't theirs. However, in wealthy and powerful families, people like the old lady are rare. 99% of noble women would think like Mrs. Ji. Feeling that Nuan is not worthy of Ji Chen, with Ji Lai and the 2 children no longer present, Mu Changfeng didn't hold back. He casually flipped through the gifts Ji Chen had brought and remarked, not only did you show up uninvited, but you also brought such shabby gifts. What, is President Ji so poor now that his pants are full of holes? Then again, President Ji has left the Ji group. I heard he said he only wants by Nuan, not the Ji group. The Ji group is your family's empire, and President Ji is choosing beauty over power. Ji Chen wasn't angered by Mu Changfeng's sarcasm. My son said, he's already lost face in front of Mu Changfeng. So why should he be afraid of Mu Changfeng's sarcasm? He said, lately, I've been busy chasing after my wife, not working, not making money, so I'm a bit short on cash. I wonder if President Mu would be willing to lend me a few tens of millions to spend. Lend a few tens of millions. Mu Changfeng exaggeratedly replied, who do you think you are? Go take a look in the mirror and see how big your face is. How dare you ask me for money? Yuqing said to the old lady, Grandma. The sun is about to set, and it's not so hot outside. I'll accompany you to see those 3 children. The old lady was speechless at the sight of 2 grown men bickering like little kids. She took Yuqing's hand and left. Chapter 514, Nuan's admirer. What are you looking at? Seeing Ji Chen watching the old and the young leave, Mu Changfeng said to him, that's my grandmother and my wife. What are you looking at? Oh, you don't have a wife. You can only envy me. Ji Chen. Has Nuan said when she will forgive you? Nuan has worked at my Mu family villa for 9 years, making her a long-time employee. Don't think she has no backing. My Mu family villa is her backing. If you dare treat her the way you did 10 years ago again, and she leaves, you'll never see her again in this lifetime. Ji Chen remained silent for a long while before looking up and meeting Mu Changfeng's handsome face. He said gratefully, Changfeng, thank you, and thank you to the Mu family. If it weren't for your family all these years, who knows what would have become of Nuan and her child? I, Ji Chen, owe you an enormous favor. If there is ever a time when you need my help in the future, just say the word. As long as it's not illegal, I will do everything in my power to assist you. Once the favor was repaid, he wouldn't have to bow his head in front of Mu Changfeng anymore. What did you say? I didn't hear you clearly. Ji Chen, what did you say to me? Say it again. Louder this time. Ji Chen. Sometimes, he really wanted to pick a fight with Mu Changfeng. This man's mouth is too foul. Mu Changfeng only acts this way towards Ji Chen. Anyway, he just takes pleasure in others' misfortune and enjoys watching Ji Chen chase after his wife in a fiery battlefield. Not long after, Mu Changze and Lin Xiaojun arrived. Ouyang Wei and Wang Jiayi arrived 10 minutes later than Mu Changze. Mu Changyu, who manages the Guangqing Hotel, was also called over. The villa immediately became lively. Nuanuan was the last to arrive, having come from the Jiyu family mansion, which was a bit farther away. When they saw Jiyu Chen was also present, Mu Changyu and Mu Changza were in perfect sync, taking turns to sarcastically mock him thoroughly. Jiyu Chen had learned to be smarter. He let the Mu brothers poke him full of holes like a beehive without retorting. As he was at a disadvantage, there were 3 brothers on their side, and he was alone, although he had a son. His son wasn't on his side. Mu Changyu also cheekily said to Nuanuan, "Sister Nuan, I have a senior who has always liked you, seeing you as an idol. During the 10 years you've been living under the radar, my senior was heartbroken and kept searching for news about you. To this day, he remains unmarried and doesn't even have a girlfriend. I fully support Sister Nuan in resuming her former career. I'll call my senior later and tell him that Sister Nuan is making a comeback. He will still be your devoted fan." Jiyu Chen's face darkened. Was Mu Changyu trying to play matchmaker for Nuanuan right in front of him? Nuanuan is his. Nuanuan smiled and said, "Thank you for your support, second young master. Who is your senior?" "My senior's surname is Leng Xiaofeng." Upon hearing it was Leng Xiaofeng, Jiyu Chen's expression turned serious. Leng Xiaofeng is the eldest grandson of the chairman of the Leng Group and has been designated as the successor. The headquarters of the Leng Group is not in Guangqing, but they do have business there. Jiyu Chen not only had met Leng Xiaofeng but had also targeted him behind his back, because Leng Xiaofeng had once been an admirer of Nuanuan. However, before he could confess his feelings to Nuanuan, Jiyu Chen secretly sabotaged it. Who would have thought that after all these years, Leng Xiaofeng still liked Nuanuan? Leng Xiaofeng. That name sounds very familiar, as if I've heard it before. Have I met this person too? Ah Lai. Jiyu Chen suddenly called out to his son, Jiyu Lai, who was playing with Qin Fan and Qin Yu, heard his father's call and looked over. Everyone also looked at Jiyu Lai. "Son, come here for a moment." Jiyu Chen waved to his son. Jiyu Lai didn't understand why, but he still walked over. "What do you want?" Ignoring his son's indifference, Jiyu Chen pulled his son closer, looked at him gently, and said to Nuan with emotion, Nuan, our son is almost taller than you." Everyone. Jiyu Chen was hinting to Mu Changyu that he and Nuan had a nearly 10-year-old son, and that Leng Xiaofeng had nothing to do with it. He should get as far away as possible. The butler walked over while everyone was silent and said respectfully to the old lady, "Madam, dinner is ready." The elderly lady said with great authority, "Time to eat." So, everyone stood up and accompanied the elderly lady into the dining room. No one invited Jiyu Chen to join. Yet, Jiyu Chen moved no slower than they did. As Mu Changfeng and the others stood up, he also stood up. As his son said, on Mu Changfeng's turf, he couldn't afford to care about face. What use was pride anyway? If he cared about face, he wouldn't be able to have meals with Nuanuan. If he cared about face, Nuanuan would be introduced to that annoying Leng Xiaofeng by Mu Changyu. He hasn't even gotten Nuan's forgiveness yet, so he doesn't want another rival in love to appear. His son also said that once he sits down at the dining table, Mu Changfeng wouldn't have the nerve to not let him eat. The old lady is present. Mu Changfeng thought that if no one invited Jiyu Chen to join the meal, he would be too embarrassed to come in. But to his surprise, as soon as they sat down, Jiyu Chen swaggered in and took a seat next to Nuan. Mu Changfeng cursed in his heart. How shameless. The meal was lively and bustling. Not long after the meal, Nuanuan prepared to take her son and leave for home, as she still needed to return to her rented apartment at Ziyuan Court to tidy up and organize. "Nuanuan, I'll take you and our son home." Jiyu Chen shamelessly tagged along for a meal, all for the sake of this mother and child. The moment Nuan mentioned going home, he followed. Nuan coldly refused him. "No need, Nuan, it's hard to get a taxi here." Jiyu Chen reached out to grab Nuan's hand, but she shook it off. "Miss Bai." Uncle Zhong came out and called out to Nuan and her son. He walked over with a smile and handed a set of car keys to Nuan. "Miss Bai, the young mistress said she rarely drives herself these days, so she's lending the car to you. You can use it for as long as you like." Nuan took the car keys and thanked him. Jiyu Chen glared at Uncle Zhong, pretending not to notice. Uncle Zhong watched as Nuan drove away with her son from the mansion before turning around to go inside and report back. "Mom, where are we going to live?" Jiyu Lai asked his mother. "Mom rented a house. The same one your Uncle Changfeng used to rent. He doesn't need to pretend to be poor to fool your Aunt Shu anymore. He was planning to return it, but when Aunt Shu heard we were looking for a place, she suggested we take over the lease so I wouldn't have to go house hunting. In such hot weather, looking for a house is exhausting, and it's hard to find a good one. If it's too expensive, she won't rent it. If it's too cheap, she's afraid it might not be safe. Shen Pavilion isn't cheap, but it's not too expensive either. The rent is within her acceptable range, and besides, Mu Changfeng had lived there for a while, so it couldn't be too bad. Oh, Mom, what did they talk to you about? Why did it take so long? Other than wanting you to return to the Jiyu family, they didn't have much to discuss with me. Jiyu Lai said, I won't go back, unless his parents reconcile, get married, and he lives with them. He will not move into the Jiyu family. Chapter 5:15. Ouyang is a little jealous. Jiyu Chen is chasing his wife through a fiery ordeal, and no one will sympathize with him, nor will anyone help him. After Nuan and her son left, Jiyu Chen also hurried away. He had come to Mu Changfeng's place specifically for Nuan, Mu Changze, and the others didn't leave until after 9 o'clock in the evening. Ouyang Wei naturally offered to take Wang Jieri home. On the way, he asked her, would you like to go to your aunt's house? Tomorrow is the weekend, and you don't have to work. You could spend a couple of days at your aunt's place. She's been talking about you every day. Wang Jieri was dozing off against the car seat, hearing Ouyang Wei's question. She opened her eyes, sat up straight, and asked, second brother, what did you just say to me? By the way, was that plump woman we saw during the meal Mr. Gu's first love? Wang Jieri asked curiously. Mr. Gu is mature, steady, and handsome, with a charm that could captivate anyone. How could he be so fixated on a plump woman? As the daughter of the Wang family, Wang Jieri had naturally heard about Jiyu Chen's past. In fact, ever since she started working at Da Mu Group, she had heard many stories about Jiyu Chen, especially since Da Mu Group and Jiyu Corporation are rivals. She was interested in Jiyu Chen's story, so she specifically asked her eldest brother about it. She learned that Jiyu Chen had a childhood sweetheart, a white moonlight figure, 10 years ago. Something happened, and the two separated. After that, the woman named Nuan became a taboo subject for Jiyu Chen, and no one dared to mention her in front of him. Tonight, after seeing by Nuan, Wang Jieri, even with her lack of perception, could tell that those who said Jiyu Chen hated by Nuan were blind. It was clear that Jiyu Chen was deeply in love with her. Is Jiyu Chen very handsome? Ouyang Wei asked Wang Jieri in a low voice, his expression not looking too good. Isn't he as handsome as Jiyu Chen? Isn't he handsome? Honestly, you outstanding men are practically leaving no room for other men. Not only are you successful in your careers, but each of you is so good-looking and comes from a great family. It seems like the heavens have given you the very best. If I were a man, I'd be envious and jealous of everything you have. Ouyang Wei pursed his lips and said, I just asked if you'd like to stay at your aunt's place for a couple of days. I'm going home this weekend, so I can take you along. That way, I won't have to make a detour to drop you off at your rental. Wang Jieri said, it's so late now, I don't want to disturb my aunt. I'll go see her tomorrow. Second brother, if it's not on your way, you don't have to go out of your way to drop me off at my apartment building. I can just take a taxi back. Second brother, you still haven't answered me. Is that plump woman President Gu's sweetheart? They actually have such a big son, and he's a little handsome boy, just like a younger version of President Gu. Didn't you hear how they addressed Miss Bai? The president's wife invited you over for dinner tonight specifically to introduce Miss Bai to you. Miss Bai used to be a senior makeup artist and is planning to get back into the profession. If you need anything, you can ask her. Her makeup skills are truly exceptional, almost like the ancient art of disguise, really. Wang Jieri was indeed very curious. I really need to become good friends with Sister Nuan. One of these days, I'll have her do my makeup and see if she can make me look so different that even my parents won't recognize me. If Sister Nuan's makeup skills are really that good, I'll help introduce clients to her. Ouyang Wei said while driving, this is why the CEO's wife introduced Miss Bai to you, to use your status to help Miss Bai re-enter this circle. Didn't you say Sister Nuan used to be a high-end makeup artist? If her skills are so good, she should be quite famous. Right, 10 years ago, she was quite famous. Many noblewomen and daughters of prestigious families would invite Miss Bai to do their makeup when attending banquets, and even big celebrities lined up to request her services. Back then, if you wanted to ask Bai Nuan for makeup, you had to have a certain status and position, otherwise, you couldn't even get an appointment. But she disappeared and remained out of the public eye for 10 years. As the saying goes, each generation has its own talents, and her position has long been taken over by others. If she wants to re-enter this circle now, she needs a few influential, high-status women to open the door for her return. The CEO's wife is on good terms with her and is happy to help. However, the CEO's wife isn't someone who enjoys wearing makeup herself. She usually keeps it simple and only puts on makeup when accompanying President Mu to events. Her influence isn't strong enough, and she hasn't fully integrated into the upper-class social circle, so she doesn't know many daughters of prestigious families. You, on the other hand, are different. You're the daughter of the Wang Group and know everyone in the upper-class social circle. If you lend Bai Nuan a hand, the effect will be much better than if the CEO's wife helps, Jerry. If you're willing to help, then help. If not, just say no directly. Don't be too embarrassed to refuse just because of the president's wife's face, doing things you don't like to do. Wang Jerry smiled and said, "It's just a small effort. I know many celebrities, and I can introduce Sister Nuan to them." Sister Nuan has a solid foundation, so she can quickly return to the peak of her career. The only thing is the GU family willing to let her continue to be in the public eye? Born and raised in a wealthy family, Wang Jiari knew that many young mistresses were not allowed to appear in public. Her mother and sisters-in-law were like this. Unless they were accompanying their husbands to events, they rarely appeared in public. Their daily lives were, in her opinion, quite boring, either traveling, shopping, or soaking in hot springs, and so on. She remembered when she was a few years old, her mother opened a beauty salon outside, and when her father found out, he demanded that she close it. Her mother refused, and a fierce argument broke out between her parents. Not long after the argument, her father gifted her mother a private yacht, so that when her mother felt bored, she could invite 3 or 5 close friends to go out to sea on the yacht, or even stay at their private island for a while. After her mother received the private yacht from her father, she never went to the beauty salon again. Later, she learned that her mother had eventually given up her newly established career and returned to the family, settling down comfortably as the young mistress of the Wang family. She was still unmarried and the youngest child in the family, deeply cherished by her parents and older brother. If she wants to work, let her work. No one will stop her. Compared to her mother, who spent her entire life confined to the inner chambers as a noblewoman, her sisters-in-law had it a bit better. Her brothers were more open-minded and allowed their wives to pursue small careers, though they still expected them to prioritize family. Look, does Miss Bai even care about how the GU family sees her? She doesn't even care about GU Chen anymore, so why would she care about the GU family's opinion? Ouyang Wei sneered. GU Chen deserves it. I hope he never gets Miss Bai's forgiveness. Wang Jiari, recalling the information she had gathered from her elder brother, also sided with Bai Nuanu. Chapter 516, Waiting for his bride. Second brother, where are you taking me? This isn't the way to my home. Wang Jiari was so engrossed in chatting with Ouyang Wei about the gossip involving Jiu Chen and Bai Nuan that she didn't even notice Ouyang Wei wasn't taking her home. It's such a hot day. And it's the weekend too, going to the seaside for a vacation, feeling the sea breeze. It's really refreshing, Ouyang Wei said. I've already told your cousin. They'll be waiting for us at the seaside villa. Don't worry, just come with me. I won't sell you off. After all, Wang Jiari laughed and said, I'm not afraid that second brother would sell me off. He's my second brother. After all, how could an older brother sell his younger sister? Have my cousins already gone over? He should be on his way there. Ouyang Wei was lying to her. In fact, he hadn't spoken to his 2 cousins yet. He would send a message to his 2 cousins once he arrived at the seaside villa. If they came over overnight, there would be rooms for them to rest. If they preferred to trust his word, they could come the next morning. It's been a long time since I've been to the beach to have fun, Wang Jiari said. Working is truly exhausting, but life feels very fulfilling. Compared to being a young lady at home, I still prefer it this way, going to work every day, getting things done, and learning a lot in the process. After starting work, Wang Juri's temperament has changed a lot. She is no longer as easily deceived by just anyone as she used to be. She has also come to realize that the outside world is full of schemes and traps. If you're not careful, you can easily be taken advantage of. Colleagues in the same company or department may seem friendly and get along well on the surface. But often it's the ones who smile the most and know you best who will stab you in the back. Second brother, we're going to the beach for vacation. But I didn't bring any clothes. You always end up playing in the water when you go to the beach. She was taken to Changfeng's house by Ouyang Wei right after work. And now they're heading straight to the beach. She didn't bring anything with her. I'll have someone go out and buy you a few new outfits right now. There's a dry cleaning room in my villa. I'll have them dry cleaned for you. By the time we arrive, you'll have clothes to change into. Don't worry. Wang Juri indeed stopped worrying about this matter. She also praised Ouyang Wei. Second brother, you are so thoughtful and considerate. In the future, my second sister-in-law will definitely be the happiest woman in the world, just like Sister Qing. So happy it's enviable. Having grown up in a honey jar, even she envies Sister Qing's happy life. Brother Changfeng truly dotes on Sister Qing. Ouyang Wei's dark eyes flickered. Wang Juri continued, second brother, when are you going to bring a second sister-in-law home? I heard from my cousin that your parents are very anxious about your marriage. There are many women in our company who secretly admire you. I'm waiting for someone. Waiting for whom? Wang Juri was curious. I'm waiting for a girl who said she would marry me. She told me a long time ago that she wanted to marry me. So I've been waiting for her to come find me and become my most beautiful bride. Wang Juri looked at him and asked with a smile, second brother, is the reason you've never been in a relationship because you're waiting for that girl? Where is she now? Did she say when she would come find you? If she doesn't come to you, you could go find her. You're already in your 30s. If you keep waiting, you might end up an old man. And she might not want you anymore, but even if second brother becomes an old man, he'll still be the most handsome one and could still charm many women. Ouyang Wei, am I that old? He is only 7 years older than her. He's not old now, but for ordinary people, someone of his age should already be a father. And you're not even married yet. Second brother, tell me quickly, who is my future sister-in-law? Do I know her? Wang Juri was very curious and eager to know which girl was so lucky to have second brother Ouyang waiting for her. That's my secret, and it's not convenient to share for now. Ouyang Wei did not admit in front of Mu Changfeng that he had been single for so many years because he was waiting for Wang Juri. In fact, the reason he remained single all these years was that he never met a girl he liked. He didn't think he was waiting for Wang Juri. This girl was buried deep in his heart. But if he hadn't encountered her at the company, he wouldn't have been able to dig her out. Now, Ouyang Wei thought it wouldn't be a bad idea to have Wang Juri fulfill her promise. Compared to Wang Juri from 18 years ago, he prefers the Wang Juri of today. Second brother, just tell me quietly. I promise I won't tell anyone. I'm just really curious about what the girl who made you wait looks like. After all, Ouyang Wei is so outstanding, to make such an outstanding man wait. Wang Juri thought, that girl must be a very good person, she is very beautiful. So, when did you two meet? How long have you been waiting for her? Wang Juri truly didn't expect that Ouyang Wei had remained single all this time just to wait for a girl. That girl is really lucky to be waited for by such an outstanding man. I've waited for her for 18 years. Wang Juri exclaimed, 18 years, that's such a long time. She must be your classmate, right? How old was second brother 18 years ago? Let me calculate. Second brother was only 13 then, just starting middle school. Was she your middle school classmate or elementary school classmate? You didn't get into the same school, so you made a promise to wait for each other. Ouyang Wei smiled without saying a word. Wang Juri thought she had guessed correctly. Little did she know that she was the girl Ouyang Wei had been waiting for 18 years. She had long forgotten the promise she made to Ouyang Wei when she was 6 years old. She even forgot that she had once kissed Ouyang Wei and was pushed down by him, injuring herself. Due to some traffic congestion on the road, it was already 11 p.m. when they arrived at the Seaview Villa area. Wang Juri tried hard to pry more gossip from Ouyang Wei's mouth, but without success. She was soon lured away by the Sandman. On the weekend, many people came to the seaside for vacation. And the villas in the seaside villa area were almost all lit up. As Ouyang Wei drove into the villa area, he noticed that the car in front looked very familiar. and the license plate seemed to be Qin Wentian's. Indeed, he, Qin Tianyu, and Mu Changfeng all owned seaside villas here, and after Anyu returned, she was staying in the seaside villa that Qin Tianyu had bought before his death. Qin Tianyu bought that villa for Anyu because Anyu loves going to the seaside for vacation every summer. Staying for the entire summer break, Qin Wentian, however, does not have a house here. When Tianyu was still alive, if Qin Wentian came to the seaside for vacation, he would stay at the villa under his brother's name. Qin Wentian's appearance here, needless to ask, was clearly to find Anyu, but it's so late. And Qin Wentian is still coming to see Anyu, which easily leads to wild thoughts. Ouyang Wei turned his head to look at Wang Jieri in the passenger seat. Wang Jieri was sleeping soundly. This girl really sees him as her second brother. In fact, he is not her second brother, he is just the second cousin of her cousin, and he has no blood relation with her at all. Chapter 517, Ill Intentions. After entering the villa area, Ouyang Wei slowly pulled over to the side of the road. He softly called Wang Jieri's name twice, but she did not wake up. Confirming that she was sound asleep, Ouyang Wei took out his phone and called his subordinates, instructing them to keep a close watch on Qin Wentian. He left 2 people to secretly keep an eye on Anyu. Tonight, they came in handy. Qin Wentian was also cunning. He didn't go directly to Anyu's villa. Instead, he drove around the villa area for a while to make sure no one was following him before heading to Anyu's villa. Arriving at Anyu's villa, he honked the car horn, and soon someone came out to open the gate for him. Qin Wentian quickly drove into the villa, and the servant closed the main gate. Is Anyu at home? After getting out of the car, Qin Wentian asked the servant a question. The second young mistress has been at home these past 2 days. Anyu was beaten by her mother-in-law. Although her face wasn't scratched, her body was covered in bruises. For the past 2 days, she had been hiding at home and hadn't gone out. She was also afraid that if she went out, she might run into her in-laws and suffer their verbal abuse and physical violence again. Her in-laws had gone to see Mu Changfeng, but she didn't know what the outcome was. After seeing the 2 children, her in-laws didn't take any further action, which left Anyu feeling extremely anxious and unsettled. If her in-laws said they wanted to take the 2 children back, Anyu could feel a bit more at ease. At the very least, they would treat her, their daughter-in-law, a little better for the sake of the children and wouldn't hit her as soon as they saw her. Qin Wentian gave a hum of acknowledgement and then went inside. Anyu was watching TV. When she saw him come in, she frowned and said to him, "It's so late, and you're still here. Aren't you afraid your wife will suspect you're cheating?" Qin Wentian walked over and sat down beside her. "What drama are you watching?" "Just browsing around to kill time. Being alone at home is really boring." Qin Wentian paused for a moment before saying, "I came over just to say a few words to you. Once I'm done, I'll go back." He usually left early and returned late because of his busy work, so his wife never suspected him. Perhaps it was because he treated his wife too well. Qin Wentian truly loves his wife, but for the sake of gaining power and profit, he did things that betrayed her. Even though he treats his wife and children well, he still feels guilty toward them, especially his wife. She trusted him so much and never doubted him. Yet is there something that couldn't be said over the phone, that you had to come all this way? And you said sarcastically, "Is it still about the 2 children? After all, I am their biological mother, and I don't even care anymore who their biological father is. In your parents' eyes, they are still their own grandchildren. If you want to do a paternity test with the children, you'll have to figure it out yourself." Qin Wentian fell silent for a moment before saying, "I suggested to my parents that we bring Fanfan and Yaya back to the Qin family to raise them. I need your assistance." He was afraid that the 2 children were his, and Anyu was unwilling to let them return to the Qin family, fearing she might talk nonsense in front of his wife. That's why he personally made this trip, otherwise, he wouldn't have come. Now, he wants to reduce the number of times he interacts with Anyu. "What do your parents mean?" Anyu did not answer but instead asked a question. "My parents said that the 2 children grew up with Mu Changfeng, have a good relationship with him, and the Mu family has treated the children well. They don't want to change the children's living environment. They also said that if the children were to come back, they are too old to take good care of them. They want to visit the Mu family to see their grandchildren when they miss them." Qin Wentian didn't expect his parents to refuse to take the 2 children back to the Qin family. Previously, his parents believed the two children were not of Qin blood and didn't want to raise them, but now, having seen the children, they look so much like Tianyu that it's 100% certain they are from the Qin family. As to whether they are his or Tianyu's, he still doesn't have an answer for now, but for his parents, they are their grandchildren regardless. Qin Wentian thought his parents would be eager to bring the children home. After all, to the parents, that is Tianyu's child, you are the biological mother of the children. If you step forward to ask Mu Changfeng for custody of the two children, the Mu family has no grounds to object. My parents may say they want the children to stay with the Mu family, but I know they truly wish to have the two children by their side. Looking at Fan Fan is like seeing Tianyu as a child, and you sneered mockingly. Qin Wentian, do you think I would help you? What I want is Mu Changfeng. Without the two children by his side, how can I carry out my plan? If you want the two children to return to the Qin family, you'll have to wait until I marry Mu Changfeng and have children of my own with him. Qin Wentian was not that kind-hearted. The two children returning to the Qin family would definitely be ruined. Her greatest fear was that Qin Wentian would confirm the children were not his and would harm them. After all, they were her own flesh and blood, born after 10 months of pregnancy, and you wanted to use the children to win over Mu Changfeng. But she never intended for them to die. They were her own children. She knew better than anyone how ruthless Qin Wentian could be. The worst-case scenario she had prepared for was to have nothing left, but she would still drag Qin Wentian down with her, ensuring that Qin Wentian and his family would not monopolize the Qin family's assets. Qin Fan and Qin Yu are also descendants of the Qin family and are entitled to a share of the inheritance. Tianyu's shares in the Qin group are currently being managed by Qin Wentian on his behalf. Moreover, I think your parents are right. The child grew up by Mu Changfeng's side and has a bond with him. The Mu family has good values, and the child will grow up in a positive environment, becoming a good person in the future, if they return to the Qin family. Who knows how you would raise the child? From what I've seen, your two children are not as good as Fan Fan and Yeye. They are several years older than Fan Fan and Yeye, which clearly shows that the Qin family's parenting is lacking. Qin Wentian's face darkened as he glared at Yu, warning her. You can say whatever you want about me, but don't you dare speak about my children. If there's a next time, don't blame me for being rude to you. Yu sneered but didn't say anything more. Know when to stop. Qin Wentian doted on his two children, and Yu knew it. She was filled with jealousy and resentment. The child she gave birth to was easily abandoned by the Qin family. Qin Wentian's children are not as clever and adorable as her own, but they live like princes and princesses in the Qin family, while her own children must be adopted by the Mu family to survive. Qin Wentian suppressed his anger, stood up, and left, and Yu remained seated and did not see him off. After walking a few steps, Qin Wentian stopped, turned back, and said to Yu, remember this, we are always in the same boat. If you make me unhappy, I won't let you off easy either, and as for the things that Zhuang did, you can't escape responsibility either. If it really comes down to it, you'll be imprisoned for plotting to take a life. Yu's pretty face darkened. She said nothing. If that Zhuang woman fails again, she won't have an easy time either. Her hatred for Xu Yuqing stems from the plagiarism incident. The truth about the plagiarism is likely unfavorable to Zhuang. If the truth comes to light, Zhuang will lose everything. Chapter 518. The proactive fourth young master Zhao. I have no idea what she might do when she goes crazy. If you don't want to get dragged into it, just. Qin Wentian made a throat-slitting gesture, implying that Yu should eliminate Zhuang Xini. Yu's face turned pale with shock. Zhuang Xini wants to get rid of Shenjiu, and she wants to get rid of Zhuang Xini. If you want my help, go find Mu Changfeng and get custody of the two children. After saying this, Qin Wentian turned and left. Yu was so angry that she threw the TV remote control. She had boarded a pirate ship, and now there was no chance to get off. Back then, she was wrong. When Qin Wentian violated her, she should have bravely exposed his false facade and reported it to the police. Even if she would have been swept into the storm as well, she took the wrong path. She was afraid of everyone finding out that Qin Wentian had violated her, so she endured it, thinking that she would stay away from him in the future, and that incident would remain a secret she could never reveal, even to her death. Who knew that Qin Wentian would become increasingly excessive? From her initial fierce resistance to her eventual half-hearted compliance, until she became pregnant, Qin Wentian no longer touched her. It was a mistake after mistake, and now, she truly has no way to turn back. In the early morning, the sun rises in the east, casting a soft light over the courtyard, and the entire villa remains quiet. The early rising servants silently carry out the tasks they perform every day, day after day. Year after year, nothing has changed. Beep beep. Suddenly, the sound of a car horn broke the silence of the large villa. A black Mercedes-Benz was parked at the villa's entrance, and the person inside kept honking the horn. Uncle Zhong quickly came out of the house and hurried toward the villa's entrance. Seeing Uncle Zhong come out, young Master Zhao the Fourth finally stopped honking the car horn. Uncle Zhong opened a door and walked out. Zhao Xishao promptly rolled down the car window. Hi, Uncle Zhong. Good morning. Zhao Xishao knew that the butler at Mu Changfeng's house was surnamed Zhong. He had met him twice before and had some impression of Uncle Zhong. Seeing Uncle Zhong come out, he rolled down the window to greet him. Uncle Zhong stared at young Master Zhao Sai for a moment and tentatively asked, "Young Master Zhao Sai." Young Master Zhao Sai smiled and said, "I didn't expect Uncle Zhong to still remember me. That's rare." He picked up a pack of cigarettes from the car hood and handed it to Uncle Zhong. "Uncle Zhong, care for a smoke?" Uncle Zhong declined the cigarette offered by him, politely expressing his thanks, and said, "Thank you, young Master Zhao, for the cigarette, but I don't smoke anymore. The eldest young mistress is pregnant, and the eldest young master does not allow any smoke smell in the house. Many male workers who usually enjoy smoking are not allowed to enter the house if they have smoked." To prevent the eldest young mistress from being exposed to second-hand smoke, Uncle Zhong specifically designated a smoking area for workers who wish to smoke. Uncle Zhong quit smoking. "That's good. Smoking is harmful to health." Zhao Xishao withdrew his hand, threw the pack of cigarettes back to its original place, and said to Uncle Zhong, "Uncle Zhong, open the door a bit, I'll drive in." Uncle Zhong stood still and asked him, "What brings you here so early in the morning, Zhao Xishao?" Zhao Xishao didn't get along with their eldest young master, and without the eldest young master's permission, Uncle Zhong wouldn't let Zhao Xishao in. "I did your young mistress a favor, and she said she didn't want to owe me a favor and insisted on repaying me. I'm the kind of person who helps without expecting anything in return, but your young mistress was determined to repay me, so I had to let her treat me to a meal. Treating me to a meal counts as repaying me. It's the weekend today, and I came over specifically to eat so that your young mistress can return the favor. By the way, Uncle Zhong, please have the kitchen prepare an extra serving of breakfast. I came early and I'm still hungry." Uncle Zhong, is the young mistress inviting fourth young Master Zhao to a meal? He hadn't received any instructions from the young mistress. "Fourth young Master Zhao, please wait a moment. I'll go inside to ask for instructions. The young mistress wants to invite you to a meal, but I haven't received any notice. I suppose the young mistress must be inviting you to dine at a restaurant." Normally, when the young mistress wanted to invite guests for a meal, she would notify him in advance so he could buy more groceries. From yesterday until today, he hasn't received any notice from the young mistress. I suppose the young mistress is planning to invite fourth young Master Zhao to a meal at the hotel. If we're going to the hotel, it's still too early for lunch. Let's have breakfast first. Since I'm already here, a guest is a guest. Are you really going to make me wait in the car until noon? It's not too much to ask for a breakfast, is it? With the weather like this, the sun is only going to get harsher, and sitting in the car would be unbearable, Uncle Zhong thought to himself. Doesn't your car have air conditioning? As if you'd actually die from the heat. On the surface, however, he politely said, "Young Master Zhao, I still need to go inside and ask for instructions." Young Master Zhao smiled and said, "All right then, I'll wait for Uncle Zhong's news. Please go ahead and ask for instructions quickly." Uncle Zhong exchanged a few polite words before turning around to head back inside. He then closed the villa gate, guarding against the possibility of young Master Zhao shamelessly barging in on his own. Young Master Zhao Sai did not barge in. Today, he intended to enter openly and properly, making sure Xu Yuqing would come out to welcome him in. After Uncle Zhong returned to the house, young Master Zhao Sai got out of the car, then bent over and leaned close to the car mirror, examining his reflection. His face was cleanly shaven, his hair meticulously combed, and his clothes were newly bought. Although he wasn't dressed in a suit and tie, even his casual attire couldn't hide his masculine charm. Zhao Pengcheng's looks were certainly no worse than Mu Changfeng's. After gazing at the car mirror for a while, Zhao Xishao finally returned to the car, waiting for Uncle Zhong to come out again. After entering the house, Uncle Zhong checked the time, hesitated for a moment, and then made an internal call to Mu Changfeng's room. Yuqing came downstairs at this moment. She had woken up earlier. Disturbed by the beep-beep sound of the car horn, looking out from the balcony and seeing that young Master Zhao Sai had arrived. Yuqing changed her clothes and went downstairs. Uncle Zhong, upon seeing Yuqing, immediately hung up the phone. Fortunately, the young master did not answer, so that internal call did not wake him up. "Young madam," Uncle Zhong walked to the staircase. Smiling as he watched Yuqing go downstairs. "Whose car is that outside the villa? The person in the car looks a bit like young Master Zhao Sai." Uncle Zhong replied, "It is young Master Zhao Sai. He came here early in the morning, honking his horn like crazy. Did the young mistress wake up because of it?" "I was woken up by his honking." "What is he doing here so early? I promised to treat him to a meal, but there's no food this early in the morning." Uncle Zhong, "Go out and tell him to go back for now. We'll talk at noon," Uncle Zhong said. Young Master Zhao said since he's already here, a guest is a guest. The young mistress wants to treat him to a meal to return the favor, and treating him to breakfast as well isn't too much. He also mentioned that he came over early in the morning and is hungry. "Yuqing, we agreed to treat him to lunch, and now he even wants me to treat him to breakfast." As she spoke, she walked out. If she didn't mock that sycophant a little, she wouldn't feel at ease. Zhong Shu followed Yuqing and said, "If the young mistress doesn't wish to invite him for breakfast, just let him leave. There's no need to pay attention to what he says." Chapter 519 Untitled. "He helped me a great deal, and I owe him a huge favor. He asked me to treat him to a meal as a way of repaying him, so treating him to one more breakfast won't hurt." If Zhao Xishao hadn't subtly hinted to her, she wouldn't have known that Shenjiao was an accomplice and had inside knowledge. Zhuang Xini is now determined to silence Shenjiao. If she hadn't found out early that Shenjiao had evidence, by the time Changfeng helped her uncover it, Shenjiao would likely have been long dead, and the evidence would have been destroyed by Zhuang Xini. Then, clearing her name of plagiarism would have been extremely difficult. So, fourth young Master Zhao has a sharp tongue. He used to be Zhuang Xini's lackey, doing many things for her. But now he is genuinely helping Yuqing. Yuqing appreciates his kindness. She feels she must repay him. Since Yuqing had said so, Uncle Zhong couldn't say anything more. Zhao Xishao saw Yuqing coming out and couldn't wait to get out of the car. He pushed the car door open. But after a moment's thought, he closed it again, putting on airs as he waited for Yuqing to invite him in. Yuqing hadn't tied up her hair yet, with her long hair flowing and wearing a simple, elegant long dress. She caught Zhao Xishao's eye. This woman rarely wears dresses. When she wears a dress, well, if you don't look at her face, she seems quite pretty. Well, her face isn't unattractive either. The longer you look at her, the more you might find her quite good-looking. Perhaps this is what people mean by growing on you. Fourth young Master Zhao, Yuqing greeted with a smile. "Good morning." Fourth young Master Zhao remained reserved, merely responding lightly, "Morning. I hope I didn't disturb the young madam's rest." Fourth young Master Zhao, coming at this hour really does disturb one's sweet dreams. Fourth young Master Zhao, "I was afraid you'd go back on your word, so I came early to keep watch. If you dare to back out, I'll stand guard at your doorstep all day and call the media to report on your reneging faces." Yuqing said with amusement, "It's just a meal. After all, I can certainly afford it, and besides, fourth young Master Zhao has truly been a great help to me. Since you've acknowledged my favor and admitted that I've been a great help to you, how about treating me to a few more meals to repay the debt of gratitude?" Yuqing, young Master Zhao Sai laughed heartily at Yuqing's speechless expression, then pushed the car door open and hopped out. "Afraid to agree. Worried I'll eat you out of house and home. My orchard grows seasonal fruits, with different varieties available all year round. From now on, whenever a new batch of fruit is ready, I'll send a few baskets for young Master Zhao Sai to enjoy. How does that sound? Sending fruit. Yuqing doesn't need to deliver it personally, but for treating someone to a meal, it would be awkward if Yuqing doesn't accompany them. To be honest, Yuqing doesn't want to share a table with fourth young master Zhao. They, well, can't really be considered friends. Just a month ago, they were still on hostile terms. Alright then, I won't stand on ceremony with you. It'll save me some money on fruit. Knowing that Yuqing was not willing to invite him to dinner, fourth young master Zhao did not insist. Fourth young master, please drive the car in first. Fourth young master Zhao grunted in agreement, returned to the car, and saw the red bag on the passenger seat, a special bag from a certain jewelry brand. He had bought a set of jewelry. He turned his head to look at Yuqing outside the car. Yuqing was always very plain, at most wearing a diamond ring. Without even asking, it was clear that the diamond ring was given to her by Mu Changfeng. Apart from that, as the esteemed eldest daughter-in-law of the Mu family, she did not wear any other jewelry. Young Master Zhao stared at the set of jewelry for a moment but ultimately made no move. Would you like to ride in my car to go in? He asked Yuqing. Yuqing smiled and said, no need. Zhao Sishao pouted and didn't say anything more. Under Uncle Zhong's direction, he drove into the villa and parked in an open space. When getting out of the car, he picked up the set of jewelry and stepped out. After walking a few steps, he paused and said to Yuqing, I always have the habit of taking things from the car with me when I get out. This is a gift for my girlfriend, so I'm taking it with me too. Yuqing just glanced at the bag containing the jewelry, smiled, and said nothing. Zhao Sishao turned around and placed the bag back on the passenger seat, planning to visit the Wen family in the afternoon to give this set of jewelry to Miss Wen. Miss Wen was his girlfriend, the one he should marry. Other women, what did they have to do with him? Mu Changfeng saw his wife inviting Zhao Sishao into the house from the balcony, turned around to go back inside, and then quickly went downstairs. I didn't even change out of my pajamas. Just as Yuqing had invited young Master Zhao to take a seat, Mu Changfeng came downstairs. Wife, Changfeng called out as he walked, drawing everyone's attention to him. Yuqing stood up to greet him and asked, what's wrong? There's a guest here. Why didn't you change your clothes before coming downstairs? Mu Changfeng glanced at fourth young Master Zhao, nodded as a form of greeting, and then said to Yuqing, honey, usually you always prepare my clothes and place them by my pillow. So I don't have to look for them when I wake up, I can just change right away. Today when I woke up, I didn't see my clothes. Yuqing glared at her husband. This guy is doing it on purpose, because young Master Zhao has arrived. He deliberately shows affection in front of young Master Zhao. This childish, domineering guy gets jealous whenever a male appears in front of her. Always sour and never afraid of rotting his teeth with envy, Changfeng's words are always the opposite. The most considerate one is him. Every day, he picks out her clothes and places them by her pillow. When she wakes up, everything is prepared, saving her a lot of time. If it weren't for her saying something about him, he would have even squeezed the toothpaste for her. Yuqing felt that after she gave birth to the baby and finished her postpartum confinement, she would become very, very lazy. Spoiled by Mu Changfeng. Let's go back to the room to change clothes. Yuqing pulled him and left. Mu Changfeng called out loudly to Uncle Zhong, Uncle Zhong, please take good care of fourth young Master Zhao. Uncle Zhong responded respectfully, after watching the loving couple go upstairs. Fourth young Master Zhao asked Uncle Zhong, does your eldest young master usually have Shu Yuqing take care of him at home? Uncle Zhong smiled and said, it's not about who takes care of whom. It's a playful dynamic between the couple, and they enjoy it. Young Master Zhao said enviously, your eldest young master is truly blessed. Indeed, our eldest young master has always been blessed, especially after marrying our eldest young mistress. Young Master Zhao glanced at Uncle Zhong, feeling as though Uncle Zhong was also showing off. After taking a couple of sips from the warm water Yuqing had just poured for him, young Master Zhao was about to ask more questions when his phone rang. He held a water glass in one hand and pulled out his phone with the other. It was a call from Miss Wen. A flicker of displeasure crossed fourth young Master Zhao's eyes, but he still answered Miss Wen's call. Cheng, are you at home? I'm on my way to your place. What's wrong? Zhao Sishao asked her gently. It's so early. What brings you here? It's the weekend. Wouldn't it be better to rest well at home? I wanted to have breakfast with you. With that tone, are you not welcoming me? Or are you not at home right now? Chapter 520. Daring to imagine. After a moment of thought, Zhao Sishao replied, I'm out for a drive and will be back soon. How long will it take you to get here? About 15 minutes, then just ring the doorbell when you arrive, and they'll let you in. I'll probably be back a bit later. Miss Wen, hearing that he was out for a drive and not with Zhuang Xini, softened her voice even more. She said, "All right, when I arrive. I'll personally make breakfast for you." Coming so early, she was using the excuse of preparing a loving breakfast for fourth young Master Zhao. On weekends, that woman surnamed Zhuang would also cling to brother Cheng. Although Miss Wen wouldn't openly confront Zhuang Xini in front of fourth young Master Zhao, she wouldn't just sit back and do nothing either. She now had the upper hand over Zhuang Xini, as long as she kept fourth young Master Zhao by her side. That wretched woman surnamed Zhuang would only be left fuming. Women's thoughts are very delicate and sensitive. Miss Wen, while interacting with fourth young Master Zhao, noticed that he was no longer as obedient and accommodating to Zhuang Xini as before, and at times even appeared particularly indifferent. If it weren't for the record of them going to a hotel and sharing a bed, Miss Wen would have thought she had defeated Zhuang Xini. Zhao Pengcheng used to be extremely obedient and accommodating to Zhuang Xini, something well known to everyone in Guangxing. Miss Wen felt envy, jealousy, and resentment toward Zhuang Xini. In reality, Miss Wen did not know why the relationship between fourth young Master Zhao and Zhuang Xini had broken down, only knew that the fourth young master of the Zhao family had promised his mother that he would never let Zhuang Xini step through the Zhao family's gate. This shows that the fourth young master of the Zhao family no longer wants to marry Zhuang Xini. Alright, the fourth young master of the Zhao family did not refuse. After ending the call with Miss Wen, fourth young Master Zhao finished the glass of water Yuqing had poured for him, remained silent for another 2 minutes, then stood up and said to Uncle Zhong, "Uncle Zhong, my fiancée is here, so I need to go back to accompany her. As for the breakfast your young mistress owes me, I'll collect it another day. Also, please let your young mistress know that I'll be waiting for her to treat me to lunch at Ming Hotel. My fiancé will be joining us as well. After all, inviting one person is the same as inviting two. I'm sure your young mistress isn't so stingy as to mind." Uncle Zhong smiled and said, "Our young mistress is not that stingy. Let me see you out, fourth young Master Zhao." He gestured for fourth young Master Zhao to proceed. Zhao Sishao turned and left without even looking up at the second floor before going. Soon, he drove away from Mu Changfeng's home. By the time the jealous young Master Mu, hand in hand with his beloved wife, came downstairs, Zhao Sishao was long gone. Learning that the sycophantic Zhao had left, Mu Changfeng couldn't have been happier. Anyway, he just doesn't like Zhao the bootlicker. Shoes Food Co., Limited, is a food processing factory invested by Yuqing and her 2 daughters. Now all departments in the factory have started operations. Yuqing herself has an orchard. Besides the fruits delivered to the Grand City Hotel every day, the surplus fruits are sent to the processing plant to be made into dried and candied fruits. However, the fruits from Yuqing's orchard are mainly supplied to the Grand City Hotel. The surplus fruit quantity is not large, so the factory also needs to purchase fruits from others for processing. Aunt Shu is in charge of procurement. She leaves early and returns late every day, busy purchasing fruits everywhere, running around non-stop. Although they are extremely busy, both Aunt Shu and Shu Yuran feel that life is more fulfilling, even if they are so busy that they don't have time to drink a glass of water. The mother and daughter walk with a spring in their step. Especially Aunt Shu, who has been a housewife for decades. She never thought that one day she would become a boss, with her focus on the factory. She wasn't as effective in taking care of the family. Mr. Shu privately complained to his son that now, almost all the household chores were done by her. Shu Wei said to his father, "Mom has taken care of our family for decades. How long have you been doing the housework and already complaining?" "Mom has been doing it for decades." Mr. Shu was speechless and had no rebuttal. Sometimes, Dad Shu would also complain to Yuqing, asking why she had to get his wife to invest, leaving him without a wife to take care of him now. Naturally, he was met with another round of scolding from his daughter. He had no choice but to work diligently at home, ensuring his wife had no worries, so she could make a fortune in her later years. A Mercedes-Benz was parked at the factory gate. The security guard looked at the Mercedes-Benz and felt a sense of familiarity. Then it hit him. It was the car of President Shu's ex-husband. Dong Jiaming got out of the car, adjusted his sunglasses on the bridge of his nose, and gazed at the factory in front of him. His parents had told him that Shu Yuyun's food processing factory was up and running, and it seemed to be doing quite well. Dong Jiaming pulled out a pack of cigarettes, took one out, lit it, took a few puffs, and then said to the security guard, "Hey, gatekeeper, go in and tell your boss I need to see her. Ask her to come out. If she doesn't, I'll go in myself." The security guard didn't say anything but went inside anyway. A short while later, Yuyun came out. Seeing her, Dong Jiaming took off his sunglasses and looked intently at his ex-wife as she approached. It's been a while. And Shu Yuyun seems to have become even more beautiful. There's also an indescribable aura about her. In short, his ex-wife has changed a lot. "What are you here for?" Yuyun came out and asked Dong Jiaming. After looking her up and down, Dong Jiaming said with a half smile, "Now that you're a boss, you really are different. When did you open? You didn't even let me know. I would have sent a few flower baskets to congratulate you. If you have something to say, say it. If not, get lost. I'm very busy and don't have time to catch up with you. Besides, there's nothing for us to catch up on." Dong Jiaming had managed to win over Fu Lingling and secure his place in the Fu family. He should have been riding high on success, yet every time he saw her, he was full of sarcasm and mockery. This person really had a narrow mind. After the divorce, Shu Yuyun gradually discovered her ex-husband's flaws. She felt that during the 7 years of their marriage, her mind must have been filled with water to have tolerated such an unbearable in-law family for so long. "Where is Weiwei?" "Weiwei is at my mom's house. If you want to see him, you can go visit. No one will stop you anymore." The divorce is finalized. Dong Jiaming paid the child support for their son in one lump sum. If the Dong family wants to see the son, the Shu family won't stand in the way. Dong Jiaming's presence in Yuyun's life has been fading. If it weren't for him occasionally popping up, Yuyun would have almost forgotten about this man. She's too busy. How could she have time to think about someone else's man? It's better to make more money with that time. A wallet is much more reliable than a man. "I want to take you and Weiwei out for fun. Would you like to?" Dong Jiaming stared at his ex-wife's graceful figure, swallowing hard in secret. Fu Lingling was pregnant, and the Fu family placed great importance on the child in her womb, taking meticulous care of her and not allowing him to get close to her anymore. He was a normal man with normal needs. Go outside to look, but afraid of being pestered by others and unable to shake them off, seeing his ex-wife at this moment. Dong Jiaming's undying heart resurfaced. He thought about reconciling with Yuyun, starting with a secret affair, and once he had taken control of the Fu family, he would divorce Fu Lingling and remarry Yuyun. Chapter 521. The bastard ex-husband. Dong Jiaming did not truly love Fu Lingling. Deep down, he looked down on Fu Lingling for being a fallen woman, not even knowing how many men she had been with. He was only with Fu Lingling because he coveted the Fu family's wealth. Although the Fu group could no longer be revived and had begun laying off employees, selling valuable company equipment to pay the staff, the Fu family still had a substantial fortune, one that the Dong family greatly envied. Not interested, Yuyun finished speaking and turned around to head back to the factory. She didn't want to spend time with her ex-husband, Yuyun. Dong Jiaming reached out and grabbed her, pulling her back forcefully, trying to embrace her, sensing his intention. Yuyun was so annoyed. They had been divorced for so long, and he had remarried, yet he still made advances on her. What did he think Shu Yuyun, was? She lifted her foot and kicked Dong Jiaming's knee, a hard and fierce kick. Dong Jiaming winced in pain. Yuyun gave another forceful push, sending Dong Jiaming stumbling back several steps. Yuyun, after steadying himself, Dong Jiaming bent down to brush the footprints off his pants and said, "It's been a while since we last met. But you've added some spice, much more interesting than before." "Dong Jiaming, we're already divorced, and you're remarried. If you dare lay a hand on me again, don't blame me for being rude," Yuyun warned him, then added threateningly, "You haven't even secured your position as the Fu family's son-in-law yet. If Miss Fu finds out what you've done, do you think you'll still be able to stay in the Fu family? A live-in son-in-law like you has to tread carefully." Dong Jiaming and Fu Lingling have already obtained their marriage certificate. Since Fu Lingling is pregnant and experiencing severe morning sickness, they have postponed the wedding for now, planning to hold it after her pregnancy stabilizes, regardless of when the wedding takes place. Dong Jiaming is the Fu family's live-in son-in-law. the Fu family gave the Dong family a betrothal gift, reportedly amounting to several 100,000 yuan, along with some expensive ingredients. Which delighted Dong's parents immensely. They have no qualms about their son being a live-in son-in-law, especially since they have 4 sons. Dong Jiaming also told his parents that the Fu family would gradually become his. Once he had complete control of the Fu family, he would bring his parents, brother, and sister-in-law to the city to live in the Fu family's large villa, allowing his parents to enjoy a life of luxury. Dong Xinyu was the most supportive of Dong Jiaming because the down payment for the house she currently lives in was paid by Fu Lingling. Yuyun's words caused Dong Jiaming's expression to change. Although he was the live-in son-in-law of the Fu family, hearing such words from his ex-wife made him deeply uncomfortable and hard to accept. Actually, he preferred the old days. Although he wasn't as wealthy as he is now, he had a loving wife and child. The Xu family treated their son-in-law extremely well, unlike the Fu family, who looked down on him at every turn. In the Fu family, he truly had to keep his head down. When he first moved in, Mrs. Fu fired all the domestic workers and made him cook for the entire family and handle all the household chores. Every day after work, the 3 members of the Fu family would sit in the living room watching TV. Meanwhile, he was busy in the kitchen, often having to step out to fetch things for them. It was even worse than being a domestic worker. At least the workers in the Fu household received wages, while he got nothing, but he couldn't show any resentment, otherwise Mr. and Mrs. Fu could kick him out at any time. Fu Lingling is easy to fool, but Mr. and Mrs. Fu are not so easily deceived. It's just that Fu Lingling developed genuine feelings for him and insisted on being with him. Mr. and Mrs. Fu couldn't persuade their daughter otherwise, so they let it be. If it weren't for Fu Lingling's pregnancy, and Mrs. Fu's concern that Dong Jiaming couldn't take good care of their daughter, she wouldn't have hired a servant again. After a moment, Dong Jiaming softened his tone and said, "Yuyun, let's go out for a walk. I want to talk to you. Also, let's pick up Weiwei from your mom's house. I'll take you both out for a nice meal, and then I'll take Weiwei to the zoo. I haven't spent time with Weiwei in a long time. Please give me this chance. I'm afraid that if too much time passes, Weiwei won't even recognize me as his own father." After learning that Fu Lingling was pregnant, his parents rarely visited Weiwei at the Xu family's home. On one hand, they thought Fu Lingling would give birth to a son, and on the other hand, they were afraid of upsetting the Fu family. Dong Jiaming, however, felt that the child Fu Lingling gave birth to, regardless of gender, would not bear his surname, whereas Weiwei did carry his surname and was the bloodline of the Dong family. At the time of the divorce, he had stipulated that Yuyun was not allowed to change their son's surname. What else is there for us to discuss? If you want to take Weiwei out to play, you can do so anytime. Just let my father know, and when you go to pick up Weiwei, he won't stop you, but you must bring Weiwei back. He still has to go to school. After finishing her words, Xu Yuyun was too lazy to argue with her ex-husband and turned around to leave again. "Yuyun." Dong Jiaming quickly stepped forward and unexpectedly wrapped his arms around Xu Yuyun from behind. Yuyun stepped on his foot, but despite the pain, he refused to let go, holding her tightly and even restraining her hands. "Yuyun, I actually still love you. Can we find a place to spend some quality time together? I miss you so much." Yuyun's face turned pale. This scumbag ex-husband suddenly came to find her, and it turned out he had such a wicked idea in mind. Probably that woman surnamed Fu is pregnant, and since he can't have her, he came back to find Yuyun. What does he take her? Xu Yuyun. For Yuyun couldn't break free from Dong Jiaming's grip, and he dragged her toward his car. Yuyun quickly shouted toward the security booth, calling for the guard to come out and help her, knowing that Dong Jiaming was Yuyun's ex-husband. The security guard tactfully retreated into the booth after Yuyun came out, feeling too embarrassed to watch the two of them. Thus, he hadn't noticed what Dong Jiaming was doing to Yuyun. Only now, upon hearing Yuyun's shouts, the security guard came out of the security room and saw that his boss was about to be taken hostage by her ex-husband and forced into a car. Immediately, he grabbed the rubber baton provided by the company, rushed out, and began fiercely striking Dong Jiaming. Dong Jiaming had no choice but to let go of Yuyun. After gaining her freedom, Yuyun turned around and slapped Dong Jiaming across the face, then kicked him, sending him stumbling against his car. Seeing that he couldn't take Shu Yuyun with him and with security guards present, Dong Jiaming didn't dare to stay. He scrambled and crawled into his car, quickly driving away to escape. Yuyun snatched the rubber baton from the security guard and chased after him, banging it a few times against Dong Jiaming's car window, but unfortunately, she didn't manage to shatter it. Bastard. For the past 7 years, she must have been truly blinded and deceived, unable to see through Dong Jiaming's scumbag nature. She should really thank her ex-sister-in-law for being so extreme. If it weren't for Dong Xinyue's greed, coveting her dowry house and crossing her bottom line, she would still be living with that scumbag Dong Jiaming. President Shu, are you okay? The security guard asked with concern. Yuyun shook her head. I'm fine. Next time he comes, no matter what he says, just ignore him. There's no need to notify me either. We're already divorced, and he's remarried. There's no connection between us anymore. I don't want to see him again. Chapter 522. Furious to death. Understood. The security guard quickly responded. Yuyun angrily headed back to the factory. Mother Shu had just stepped out of the office and was about to leave when she saw her daughter return. Concerned, she asked, "What did Dong Jiaming want with you? He was acting wild, but the security guard and I chased him off. That scoundrel." Mother Shu scolded her. "Now you know he's a scoundrel. Back then, when we told you not to marry him, you were desperate and insisted on marrying him. You even got pregnant before marriage and went on a hunger strike to force your parents to agree to the wedding." Shu Yuyun's face flushed bright red. Dong Jiaming is such a jerk. She must have lost her mind. "Mom, that's all in the past. I definitely won't be so love-struck anymore. Look, I don't even like any of the men the matchmakers introduced to me now. These days, I feel like it's actually quite nice to live on my own with Weiwei, free and easy, without having to support a whole big family. Thank goodness you still have some sense, or else the dowry house we gave you would have been completely taken over by their family." Yuyun's face turned even redder. "Mom, I'm going out now and don't have time to lecture you. I'll have a good talk with you when I get home. Dong Jiaming is a scoundrel, but you're still young. You can't refuse to remarry just because of him. There's still a long life ahead of you. Dong Jiaming has already remarried, and he seems to be living quite comfortably now. If you marry a man who's better than him and live an even happier life, that would be the best revenge. If you don't like the men the matchmaker introduced, how about I swallow my pride and ask your mother-in-law to help find you a talented young man?" "Mom, I don't want to get married again. Instead of spending time on this, why don't you urge your son and daughter-in-law to have a grandchild for you to take care of sooner, Mrs. Shu laughed and said, "I don't have time to take care of a grandchild now. They still want to enjoy their time as a couple, so let them be. When they decide they want to have a child, they'll make their own plans. Shu Wei is much more worry-free than you. Among the 3 of you siblings, you're the one who worries me the most right now." Yuyun didn't respond. If she responded, her mother would just keep nagging endlessly. "Before my sister got married, my mother would nag every day, saying that out of her 3 children, my sister was the one who worried her the most. At 27 or 28, she didn't even have a boyfriend. My mother was so concerned about her marriage that whenever she met someone and chatted for a few words, she would ask them to introduce a boyfriend to my sister. It must have been tough for Yuqing." Now, Shu Yuzhen truly understood why her sister had a flash marriage. She was simply driven to dizziness by their parents' constant pressure to marry. "Mom, didn't you say you were busy? Hurry up and go take care of your tasks," Yuan Yun reminded her mother. Mother Shu looked at the time and said, "Keep a close eye on the workshop production. I'm heading out first." "Got it." After her mother left, Yuyun breathed a sigh of relief, returned to her office, sat down at her desk, took out her phone, and called her sister. Yuqing quickly answered her sister's call. "Sis, Ching, are you busy?" Yuqing laughed and said, "Right now. I just eat and sleep and eat. Nothing much to keep me busy." "Sis, is the factory still operating today?" "Ours is a small factory, and the management isn't as standardized as in big companies. It's also a new factory, so many things haven't been put on track yet. We work on weekends too. I told the workers that, for now, we'll have 1 day off every 2 weeks. Once everything is properly established, we'll switch to 1 day off per week. There are so many factories in their town, yet not a single one offers a weekly day off. Many workers don't even like taking breaks, feeling that time off means no pay. I was thinking of going back this afternoon. Fan Fan and Yaya both said they miss Wei Wei. Yuqing also wants to return to her parents' home to check on her orchard. Wei Wei talks about it every day, always asking me when Auntie will be back, wondering why she hasn't come home. Yuqing laughed and said, "The way I am now is exactly what you all wanted. Not letting me do this or that, not letting me run around. I'm stuck at home every day, practically growing mold. Ching Ching, don't be ungrateful for the blessings you have. Your life now is the envy of so many people. Ching Ching, I'm calling to ask if you could help me find out what Fu Lingling's phone number is. I used to know it, but I didn't save it, and now I can't remember." She and Fu Lingling had once been love rivals, but after divorcing Dong Jiaming, Yuyun deleted Fu Lingling's phone number. After so much time had passed, she truly couldn't recall her former rival's contact number. Yuqing asked in confusion, "Sis, what do you need Fu Lingling's number for?" Her sister wishes she had no connection with her ex-husband and his family at all. After the divorce, her sister never took the initiative to contact her ex-husband's family. Instead, it was Dong Jiaming who showed up from time to time, flaunting his new car in front of her. "That jerk came by earlier. I thought he wanted to see Wei Wei, but who knew he had ulterior motives? He almost forced me into his car and even made physical advances, saying he still loves me the most. To hell with him. He just sees me as a tool to satisfy his physical needs. That Fu guy is pregnant, right? Since he's pregnant, he can only eat vegetarian food, and I bet he doesn't dare to fool around outside, so he's set his sights on me. It makes me so angry. If I were as good at fighting as you, I'd definitely beat him until he's crawling on the ground looking for his teeth." In front of her sister, Yuyun held nothing back and told her everything in detail. Yuqing was furious upon hearing this and wished she could fly back immediately to help her sister vent her anger. "That damned Dong Jiaming, what does he take you for? That scoundrel. Sis, you've been too polite to him, even though he's Wei Wei's biological father. There's no need to be so courteous. If he comes again, just ignore him. If he dares to cause trouble, just hit him. I understand, and I won't give him this opportunity again in the future. Ching Ching, this matter still needs to be resolved by the Fu family. Give me the phone number of that person surnamed Fu. I'll call and complain to her, so she can keep her man in check and stop harassing me." Yuqing hummed in agreement. "We should let that person surnamed Fu know that Dong Jiaming probably isn't sincere with her either. He's just after her money. Sis, wait a moment. I'll ask Changfeng. I don't remember the phone number of that person surnamed Fu, but Changfeng should know." The Fu family and the Mu family have almost completely cut off contact now. Mr. Fu blames Mu Gang for not helping the Fu family, which led to the bankruptcy and collapse of the Fu Corporation. Mu Gang, however, felt that the Fu family was simply incompetent. He had helped the Fu family for over a decade, yet Mr. Fu showed no gratitude for his past assistance. Just because he couldn't help once, Mr. Fu disregarded all the support he had provided over the past 20 years. Mu Gang was deeply disappointed in Mr. Fu. Moreover, the Da Mu group was now under Changfeng's leadership. As the father, Mu Gang could no longer make decisions for his son, given the relationship between the two families. If the Fu family had been more capable, they wouldn't have ended up in such a state today. Even if the relationship between the two families had broken down and they no longer interacted, if Mu Gang wanted to find Fu Lingling's contact number, he could still ask Mu Changfeng, who would likely be able to get it for him. "Then ask Changfeng, and send it to me on WeChat once you find out." Yuqing hummed in agreement, temporarily ending the call with her sister. Chapter 523, Let the Fu Family Step In. After ending the call with her sister, Yuqing glanced around the room but didn't see her husband. She walked over to the sofa, sat down next to the elderly lady, and asked, "Grandma, where are Changfeng and the two children? I just saw them in the house a moment ago." The elderly lady replied, "Changfeng took them out to play." The elderly lady was watching TV. Yuqing didn't have any shows she particularly liked to follow, as she felt that current TV dramas weren't as exciting as the ones from before. Because of this, she hadn't watched TV in a long time. "Grandma, you keep watching TV, I'll go out and look for them." "Go ahead." The old lady was watching an old movie and was thoroughly enjoying it. Yuqing didn't have the patience to watch the show with her head buried in it. Even though the old lady was watching an old movie, she didn't have the patience to sit with her. Besides, she still needed to ask Changfeng for Fu Lingling's contact number. Mu Changfeng was swimming in the pool with the two children, who were in the shallow end wearing floaties. Uncle Zhong is watching the two children by the pool. Mu Changfeng, on the other hand, is swimming freely in the deep end. Yuqing hears the children's playful laughter and walks over toward the swimming pool. Mom! Yaya saw Yuqing and called out to her. Yuqing approached and said, "Isn't it too early to get in the water? Won't you be cold?" Uncle Zhong laughed and said, "Madam, it's already scorching hot early in the morning, not to mention it's past 10 o'clock now, the sun is blazing, so it won't be cold. I'm more worried that young Master Fan and Miss Yaya might get sunburned. Mom, I can swim now." Qin Fan was showing off to his mom. Qin Yu, on the other hand, pouted and said, "Mom, I haven't learned it yet." Yuqing crouched down by the pool, reached out to pat her daughter's head, and encouraged her. "Yaya, don't be discouraged. You're a bit younger than your brother, so it's normal for him to learn how to swim before you. You're a very smart child, and you'll learn it soon too." Encouraged by her mom, the little girl finally smiled and said, "Mom, I will definitely work hard and try to learn how to swim as soon as possible." "Mom, do you know how to swim?" Mom used to know how, but it's been many years since she's been in the water, so her skills are probably rusty now. "You all play, I'll go find Dad." Yuqing stood up and said to Uncle Zhong, "Uncle Zhong, keep an eye on them and don't let them play for too long. The sun is a bit strong today." "Alright." Yuqing walked towards the deep end. Mu Changfeng quickly swam over from the other side of the pool. Watching him move like a fish, Yuqing felt quite envious and said, "It's been a long time since I last swam. Seeing you all having so much fun makes me want to get in the water and give it a try." "Don't get in the water." Mu Changfeng quickly got up and stopped her, afraid that she would really go into the water. "Be careful of the two babies in your belly." Yuqing laughed and said, "Many people still swim during pregnancy. It's just you who worries about this and that, not allowing me to do anything. Let me ask you something. Do you know Fu Lingling's contact number?" Mu Changfeng looked at her cautiously, trying to figure out the intention behind her question. She looks cheerful and doesn't seem jealous, but why would she ask this question out of the blue? Should he answer truthfully? Yuqing said with amusement, "Why are you looking at me like that? It's not that I want it. It's my sister who wants her contact number. If you know it, just tell me, and I'll send it to my sister. If you don't know, call Dad and ask, he definitely knows." Yuqing knew that her father-in-law had the best relationship with the Fu family. Her father-in-law had even wanted Fu Lingling to marry Mu Changfeng. The first time she misunderstood Changfeng was when her father-in-law went to the Fu family and kept saying that she wasn't good enough for Changfeng, implying that he hoped Fu Lingling would marry him instead. Then Fu Lingling actually went to find Mu Changfeng, and what happened next was something she witnessed herself, which led to her misunderstanding Changfeng. It made Changfeng absolutely furious. The collapse of the Fu family's business can also be attributed to her father-in-law's responsibility. If it weren't for her father-in-law's disdain, claiming she wasn't good enough for Changfeng, and his constant complaints to the Fu family, Fu Lingling wouldn't have gone crazy and confronted Changfeng. She wouldn't have offended Mu Changfeng, leading to the termination of all business dealings between the two companies. This caused the Fu family's business to struggle for a few months before ultimately collapsing. Yuqing learned from her husband that Mr. Fu had approached her father-in-law several times, hoping he could help mediate the situation. Her father-in-law did speak with Changfeng a few times, but in the end, the Da Mu Group did not resume its partnership with the Fu family. However, he certainly knew Fu Lingling's contact information. The Fu Group faced bankruptcy, and Mr. Fu completely abandoned the company, leaving it to Dong Jiaming to handle. Although Dong Jiaming had previously held a management position in the company, he lacked the experience to run it, let alone a company on the verge of collapse. After Dong Jiaming's mismanagement, the Fu Group ultimately went bankrupt. How much Dong Jiaming and his family managed to gain from the Fu Group remains unknown. Given that family's parasitic nature, even if they sold off the Fu Group's equipment, they would still take a cut from the proceeds. Wasn't Dong Jiaming's relationship with Fu Lingling all about money? "What does my sister want Fu Lingling's phone number for?" Hearing that it was his sister-in-law asking for Fu Lingling's number, Mu Changfeng breathed a sigh of relief. He thought his wife was bringing up old grievances. It gave him quite a scare. Yuqing told her husband what Dong Jiaming had done. After hearing this, Mu Changfeng said, "That scumbag actually dared to come back and harass my sister. She should have told us earlier." He pointed to the table under the sun umbrella by the pool. "My phone is over there. Ching Ching, could you get it for me? I need to ask my dad." I really can't remember Fu Lingling's phone number. Even if I could remember it, I wouldn't dare to. My wife will get jealous. Yuqing took the phone from him. He called his father, got Fu Lingling's phone number, and passed it on to Yuqing, who then sent it to her sister. Mu Changfeng said, "That Dong guy won't give up. His divorce from my sister wasn't due to a broken relationship. He just chose his family over love. Now that he thinks he's capable and wealthy, he'll come back to pester her. I'll arrange for someone to ambush him, beat him up, and give him a warning. If he dares to bother my sister again, I'll make sure he regrets it." Yuqing said, "Don't dirty your hands for someone like that. Call the Fu family and report him. Let the Fu family deal with him." She also wanted to put a sack over Dong Jiaming's head and beat the scoundrel up. After the impulse passed, she restrained herself. For Wei Wei's sake, she wouldn't take action herself. Instead, she would let her sister report it to the Fu family and have the Fu family deal with Dong Jiaming. She just didn't believe the Fu family would remain indifferent upon learning that Dong Jiaming was pestering his ex-wife again. "Okay, I'll call President Fu." Mu Changfeng followed his wife's advice and used the Fu family to teach Dong Jiaming a lesson. If Dong Jiaming thought the Fu family was so easy to control, he was gravely mistaken. Although Mr. Fu was not successful in business, which led to the bankruptcy of the Fu Group, he had been in the business world for many years, so it would be false to say he had no tricks up his sleeve. Chapter 524. Changfeng lodges a complaint. Now that Fu Lingling is pregnant, and she and Dong Jiaming had registered their marriage after signing a prenuptial agreement, the Fu family can have them divorce at any time. The Fu family won't suffer too much loss and can even gain a child. As for the benefits Dong Jiaming gained in the company, if Mr. Fu wants to go all out, he can still reclaim them. Additionally, regarding Dong Xinyue's apartment, when Fu Lingling paid the down payment, she had Dong Xinyu sign an IOU. At the time, Fu Lingling said it was just for show and that she wouldn't actually make Dong Xinyu repay the money. In short, if Mr. Fu wants Dong Jiaming to get nothing, then Dong Jiaming will get nothing. Mu Changfeng meant what he said. He got out of the pool, sat down at the table under the sun umbrella, and called Mr. Fu. It took Mr. Fu a long time to answer his call. "Is the sun rising from the west today?" "Young Master Mu actually took the initiative to call me. I'm truly flattered." Mr. Fu holds a grudge against Mu Changfeng. He feels that Mu Changfeng, disregarding their past friendship with Mu Gang, terminated the collaboration between the two companies. Even if the cooperation between Da Mu Group and Fu Group was more like a form of support, it had been going on for so many years. Da Mu is so wealthy, what's the harm in supporting Fu Group a little? When he thought the Fu Group was really going to go bankrupt, he expected Mu Gang, out of their years of friendship, to once again plead with Changfeng on his behalf. But that didn't happen. His Fu Group's bankruptcy liquidation had already reached its final stages, and from now on, the Fu Group would no longer exist in the business world of Guangxing. "Uncle Fu, there's no need to feel flattered. I called you to lodge a complaint." Hearing this, President Fu frowned and asked, "What complaint?" "Our Fu family and your Mu family have had no contact for a long time. Even if there is any interaction, it's between me and your father. What contact have I had with you that you would lodge a complaint?" "I'm lodging a complaint against your son-in-law, Dong Jiaming. Dong Jiaming is your live-in son-in-law, Uncle Fu. You should at least keep him in check, right? After all, he's considered part of your Fu family now." Mr. Fu frowned again. What did Jiaming do? He looked down on his son-in-law, Dong Jiaming. His daughter, for some reason, seemed to have been bewitched by Dong Jiaming and insisted on marrying him. Unable to persuade her otherwise, he and his wife had no choice but to accept Dong Jiaming as a live-in son-in-law. Fortunately, despite having had many boyfriends, their daughter had never gotten pregnant until she was with Dong Jiaming. With the Fu family about to have an heir, Mr. Fu began to view Dong Jiaming a little more favorably. "I heard your daughter is pregnant, Uncle Fu. Congratulations on becoming both a grandfather and a maternal grandfather," Mr. Fu said. "Changfeng, there's no need to beat around the bush with me. Just tell me directly what Jiaming has done." He didn't want to hear the congratulatory words from Mu Changfeng. It sounded so harsh. He has no sons, only one daughter, Fu Lingling. When he was young, he didn't think much of it, but now that his older and his peers are all holding grandchildren, real grandchildren, he started to feel unhappy. However, he and his wife are too old to have more children. Even if Lingling's child takes the Fu family name, it's still the Dong family's grandchild. Strictly speaking, Lingling's child is his grandson from his daughter's side. And a grandson from the daughter's side is always different from a grandson from the son's side. With such thoughts in mind, President Fu found Changfeng's words particularly grating. Your daughter is pregnant and can't satisfy Dong Jiaming anymore, so that scoundrel actually went to pester my sister-in-law. He even said that his true love is still my sister-in-law, and that once he gains control of your Fu family, after you two old folks pass away and Fu Lingling proves useless, he'll become the master of your Fu family. Then he'll divorce Fu Lingling and remarry my sister-in-law. Who does he think he is? My sister-in-law would never go back to him, Uncle Fu. I know you resent me, but you and my father have been friends for decades. I can't just stand by and watch your Fu family fall into ruin. Dong Jiaming and his family, Uncle Fu, you should be cautious and not let them scheme away the last of your family's assets. Dong Jiaming is now your son-in-law, and since he's doing such things, shouldn't you step in and handle it? Mu Changfeng reported to Mr. Fu what Dong Jiaming had said to Xu Yuyun. Isn't Dong Jiaming arrogant and fond of showing off? And his insufferable sister, she never missed a chance to flaunt in front of his sister-in-law. Let President Fu deal with them. The Dongs got a taste of sweetness, only to have everything they now possess taken away. This kind of retaliatory blow is the most ruthless. The Dongs definitely won't be able to take it. When Xu Yuyun and Dong Jiaming got divorced, without Xu Yuyun's financial support, the Dong family's standard of living dropped by 2 levels. After Dong Jiaming got together with Fu Lingling, the Dong family gained even more benefits. If they were to lose all of this, the Dong family would probably go crazy. President Fu's face was dark. Dong Jiaming actually dare to go back and pester his ex-wife while Lingling is pregnant. Could he not hold it in? I'm sorry, Changfeng. President Fu was so angry that he gritted his teeth, but he still thanked Mu Changfeng. It's our Fu family's lax discipline that failed to keep Jiaming in check. Rest assured, when Jiaming returns, I will discipline him properly and make sure he doesn't bother your sister-in-law again. Thank you for the reminder as well. I won't let Dong Jiaming succeed. The Fu family's final assets are meant to secure the future livelihood of the family of 3. Dong Jiaming wants to scheme and take it by force. In his dreams, Uncle Fu, there's no need to be polite. Just keep your son-in-law in check. My sister-in-law only wants to live a peaceful life and has no intention of remarrying. After a moment of silence, President Fu said, Changfeng, I will keep Jiaming in check. Please apologize to your sister-in-law on my behalf. It was Jiaming's fault. Dong Jiaming and Xu Yuyun divorced because Dong's family was extremely demanding. Dong Jiaming, being overly supportive of his sister, coveted Xu Yuyun's dowry house, which crossed her bottom line, leading to their divorce. Now that Dong Jiaming is going back to pester Xu Yuyun, Mr. Fu realizes that Dong Jiaming's heart was never truly with his daughter. His daughter has played around with so many men, yet she ended up falling for someone whose heart wasn't with her. Mr. Fu quickly hung up the phone. While Mu Changfeng was calling President Fu to complain, Xu Yuyun also contacted Fu Lingling, telling her to keep her man in check and not let Dong Jiaming bother her anymore. Fu Lingling was furious when she found out that Dong Jiaming had actually gone back to pester his ex-wife. She almost threw her phone in anger. Mrs. Fu, who was shopping with her, saw her daughter's anger and quickly tried to comfort her. Lingling, you're pregnant, don't get angry, it's not good for the baby. You haven't fully stabilized the pregnancy yet, and it's easy for accidents to happen. If there's anything, tell your dad after you get home and let him handle it for you. Mrs. Fu attaches great importance to the pregnancy in her daughter's womb. She and her husband have been married for decades and only have Lingling as their daughter. Finding it difficult to conceive, Lingling has had so many boyfriends and never got pregnant before, which shows that she also has difficulty conceiving. After finally being with Dong Jiaming and getting pregnant, Mrs. Fu worries that her daughter, like her, will only have one chance to be a mother in her lifetime. Fu Lingling took a deep breath and told herself not to get angry. Dong Jiaming only went back to his ex-wife because he had been abstinent for a while, treating her as a tool for release, not out of love. Chapter 525, The Fu Family's Reaction. Mom, let's go home, Fu Lingling said through gritted teeth. Okay, let's go home, don't be angry, alright, Mrs. Fu quickly responded to her daughter, saying, wait here for me, I'll go get the car. All the family drivers have been dismissed now, only one housekeeper has been rehired, mainly for cooking, as Dong Jiaming's cooking skills are not very good, since Fu Lingling is pregnant and needs to eat well. Mrs. Fu decided to rehire a cook, let Dong Jiaming handle the other household chores alone. Do you really think it's that easy to take advantage of a good deal? Dong Jiaming should be made to sweat a little. Fu Lingling nodded. After her mother went to drive the car, she immediately called Dong Jiaming. Unexpectedly, Dong Jiaming's phone was busy, so she had to hang up. After a while, she called again, but it was still busy. Fu Lingling was so angry that she felt like throwing her phone again. She started dating at the age of 18 and has had so many boyfriends that she lost count. Almost all of them were dumped by her, before she dumped them. They were all exclusively with her, and no one dared to act like Dong Jiaming, who, despite being married to her, still went back to pester his ex-wife. Fu Lingling would rather Dong Jiaming went out and paid for sex, at least that would be a straightforward transaction. Dong Jiaming went back to bother Xu Yuyun. After all, they were married for 7 years and have a son, Dong Wei. Who knows if the two of them might rekindle their old flame. After a while, Mrs. Fu drove over. Fu Lingling got into her mother's car and said to her, Mom, it was Xu Yuyun who called me just now. She complained to me, saying that Jiaming went to harass her and even tried to take advantage of her. She said it's been so long since she divorced Jiaming, and her heart is completely dead to him. She would never go back to him, and she asked me to keep Jiaming in check. Upon hearing this, Mrs. Fu scolded Dong Jiaming, saying he was greedy and wanted to have his cake and eat it too. Even attempting to play both sides, she added, Xu Yuqing is now the young mistress of the Mu family. If her sister wants to remarry, as long as Xu Yuqing helps her sister find a match, it would be no trouble at all for Xu Yuyun to marry a man far better than Dong Jiaming. What does Dong Jiaming think he is? With you around, he still dares to pester Xu Yuyun. Lingling, this man is unreliable. You need to think about your future and your child's. Mrs. Fu advised her daughter while driving. I've told you long ago that Dong Jiaming is only with you for money. How much equipment has he sold off at the company with his brothers, sisters-in-law, and sisters? How much money have they swindled from us? Your father knows all about it. Your father said that as long as they don't go too far, he'll turn a blind eye. Mainly because of you. If it weren't for you, your father might not be able to handle Mu Changfeng, but dealing with Dong Jiaming's family would be a piece of cake. They'd have to cough up every penny they've taken. Fu Lingling fell silent. She had developed some genuine feelings for Dong Jiaming. Now she is carrying Dong Jiaming's child, and she doesn't want the child to be born without a father. She also thought about how Dong Jiaming secretly went to find Xu Yuyun and pestered her, which showed that he still had feelings for Xu Yuyun. Back when they divorced, it was because Dong Xinyu was too greedy. And Dong Jiaming was overly indulgent toward his sister, which made Xu Yuyun feel disheartened and led to their divorce. If she were to divorce Dong Jiaming, he would definitely return to Xu Yuyun's side. In that way, she did not win against Xu Yuyun. Instead, she lost completely. Mom, what Xu Yuyun said might not be true. She could be deliberately saying this to damage the relationship between me and Jiaming. Whenever her mother mentioned leaving Dong Jiaming, Fu Lingling's tone would immediately change. She would instead blame Xu Yuyun, questioning her malicious intentions to sabotage the relationship between her and Dong Jiaming. Mrs. Fu said, Lingling, if Xu Yuyun wanted to ruin your relationship, she wouldn't have agreed to the divorce back then. It was Xu Yuyun who insisted on the divorce, not Dong Jiaming. Dong Jiaming even tried to salvage the marriage. If he hadn't met you, he would never have divorced Xu Yuyun. The entire Dong family are bloodsuckers. Your father and I both look down on your in-laws. They're all insatiably greedy. Even though our company isn't doing well, Dong Jiaming still finds ways to squeeze money out of it after joining our family business. Now we have to sell the company's equipment, settle the payments, and pay the employees' wages. Our family still has to come up with a large sum of money to cover it all. Dong Jiaming is even profiting from this. If one day our family has nothing left to offer him, he might run away faster than anyone else. Although the Fu group has gone bankrupt, the Fu family still has a considerable amount of assets. Those assets are more than what the Dong family could earn in a lifetime. Mom, Jiaming and I have already registered our marriage and are officially married. I'm also pregnant with his child. I don't want our child to grow up without a father. He isn't dead. So how could the baby grow up without a father? Besides, a father like that isn't worth having. All his money goes to the son he had with Xu Yuyun. We don't even know if the baby you're carrying is a boy or a girl. If it's a girl, he'll definitely favor his son over her. Lingling, your parents are getting older. We can protect you for a while, but not for a lifetime. You need to learn to be strong and stop being so emotional. Even your own child isn't as reliable as the money in your pocket. Let alone a husband. If your parents pass away one day, with the way you are now, Dong Jiaming will completely dominate you. If he takes over our Fu family, I'm afraid you and the baby won't have a good life. Once he has money and power, he will definitely become ruthless. Mrs. Fu earnestly advised her daughter, after discussing it with your father, go ahead and divorce Dong Jiaming. After all, you two never had a wedding ceremony. And not many people know you even got your marriage certificate. Keep the child and raise it. With a child by your side, your father and I can rest a little easier even after we're gone. While the couple still have the energy, they should discipline their grandson well, so that their daughter will have a pillar of support in the future. Lingling has been spoiled by the couple, and her personality is already set, making it difficult to change. They hope to live long enough to see their grandson grow up and become a support and backbone for their daughter, so she won't be taken advantage of by Dong Jiaming again. Fu Lingling said, Mom, even if Jiaming really did harass Xu Yuyun, nothing actually happened, right? Just scold him a few times and give him a warning. It's not serious enough to kick him out, is it? Mrs. Fu was infuriated by her daughter. She said, with a heart like his, he will betray you sooner or later. Why won't you listen to your parents' advice? Fu Lingling pouted and said, if Mu Changfeng married Xu Yuqing and her sister takes Dong Jiaming away from me, wouldn't I have lost to both sisters? Mrs. Fu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You don't even like Changfeng. So why care about who he marries? Lingling, you can't act out of spite in matters like this. If Dong Jiaming truly treats his daughter well, Mrs. Fu would consider continuing to turn a blind eye. Thank you for watching. This is a full-length novel. If you'd like to see more, please leave a comment saying looking forward to the next part or give the video a like. I'll update based on your feedback. See you next time.